ESPN 620. And now, an on-air sports marketing presentation. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at arizonasports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
All right, Suns owner Matt Ishbia breaks the silence, and the D-backs just picked up their fifth straight win. Welcome in, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B from the Deer Valley Twin Peaks. We'll be here till 4 o'clock. Happy hour begins at 3, and we have a lot to get into today. As Matt Ishbia, as I mentioned, talked about this team, and you're going to hear from him in just a moment. The D-backs picked up a nice win. They swept the Miami Marlins. They now head up to Chicago to take on the Cubbies for a weekend there at Wrigley, and we get to talk about it. So a lot to get into. Let's just dive right into it. Let's start with the Phoenix Suns, and we're going to bring you back some of this presser from the which happened about 11 o'clock today. And this is the first I've heard it. I haven't heard any of it, but we have some clips that that Connor has put together. So, Manuch, you listen to it, so I'll let you kind of take it from here, since I don't want to act like I watched it. I didn't. So go for it.
I think first and foremost, he tried to answer a lot of the questions that were there as far as his involvement. You know, what about this year? Him wanting to win a championship. Let's start it off with how involved was he? That was one of the questions for Matt Ishbia to get it all started off.
Yeah, so let me say it like this. We have a collaborative group. I don't believe, and I know all the owners, I don't think there's an owner in the NBA that there's a trade that goes on that owner does not say go with it or don't go with it. I'm the same way. If you think I'm the one that sits there and says, hey, we got this guy, let me go through all the salary cap sheets and debate, like, that's the front office. That's Josh, that's James, that's Matt Tellum, and they come up with ideas. They call the teams, they bring the ideas, and they might say, let's do this, or say not, and then say, what do you think? And I'm in that conversation. Our coach is involved with that conversation too, but it's a collaborative effort. But I'm definitely not initiating draft, trade idea. Like, once again, I run a mortgage company most of the day, and I'm very active.
Hey, look, he's hired those guys to do their job.
He's done that. Yeah.
And I think you listen to him there that, hey, look, I'm going to go what's best. What you 4 or 5 guys or 20, whomever, have decided to, you figured out the salary cap. Does it work? Hey, James, does this guy fit and represent our team? So he's involved, but he's not meticulously involved like a Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys, or even maybe a Michael Bidwell for the Arizona Cardinals from that standpoint.
I think he's more involved than he's saying.
He leads on.
If you're spending that kind of money, you have your say in everything.
Involved.
It's not like he's hiring the ticket manager,
well,
or the interns.
I think
he's got to be involved a lot.
But I think he's involved in not the he's not looking at all the minutiae. He's letting those guys bring to the table why they feel this is the best move, why they feel he should do that. I think that's what he's saying.
Well, he listens to them, and then he chimes in with his thoughts, and then they make a decision. So I agree with Roc that, yes, he does. He has the mortgage company, and he is involved in that. But don't think for 1 second that he's not dialed in to his top people.
It's interesting, though. You know, he breaks his silence.
Right.
Stephen A. Smith goes off on him, calling him the worst owner in all of the NBA. You know, going back to Sterling with the Clippers. I think he's a guy that has got an ego. He's a billionaire. I do think he should have came out sooner.
Oh, we all do.
We all do.
Yeah.
And I think he needs to, he didn't even come out during the year.
Right.
No.
Right.
I mean, he was a very quiet owner. We never heard from him.
Yeah.
He's impulsive, though.
Yeah, he is.
He's
yeah.
very
Well, and
impulsive.
I think to your point, Roc, that might have been a shot across the bow at Matt Ishbia, and he went, I need to get in front of this whole thing.
He doesn't want to be a laughing stock.
No.
I think he is right now. It is sad to say that. I think his peers, I think the other cities, the NBA fan at Golden State or in Philly or in Dallas or whomever, and they see Stephen A. throw that out there, they're thinking that and they're going, what the hell's going on? Who's this Matt Ishbia guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he was a walk-on at Michigan State. You know, this, and that. He needs to make a big hire here. Big hire. I hope it's Coach Brown.
I defended him some yesterday on the show because of the effort that I felt that he put in attempting to
You can't fault him.
to have a good team.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work. It blew up in his face, and so now he has to take steps to
We
correct
can still
that.
talk. Just relax. We'll get to the
No, because
the clips.
I got it, Rock. I got it.
You're
it.
so
Well,
anxious.
no. To Jimmy's question right there, that was that big question. What Jimmy said, it's kind of a segue, as we call it.
Oh, is that what that is?
Why
All right.
did it? And this was
The
it.
driver, Jay
Right.
Manucci today.
It was
This
a
is what
setup.
happens when
Yeah.
Manucci gets a little TV time last
Go,
night.
I know.
And by the way, I'm going to blast him. I
Okay.
cannot believe what you said on TV last night. Go ahead.
And why did it go wrong this year? Here's Matt Ishbia.
We didn't play the way a lot of other teams were playing, and really what we believe in here, which is with a lot of, there's a lot of grit defensive. I mean, you can talk about defense was 28th in the league or whatever it was. Like, that's just not what we're going to be about.
Obviously, I mean, I get it. We
No,
get
but
it.
it is what you were about. That's
Exactly
exactly
right.
what happened.
And I think when you look at why the mistakes, how come the mistakes, I don't know if they're going to really ever pull the curtain back completely.
No.
We know the Mike
But do
Budenholzer
they
issue.
need to, though?
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
No, I
No.
think that you rip the Band-Aid off, you stitch it up, you don't keep putting a Band-Aid on it or from that type of thing, and just go ahead and move forward. Here's Matt Ishbia talking about that they will win championships within time.
So yes, there's always going to be ups and downs in any business. Of course, I would love to win a championship my first 2 years as an owner. I promise you that was, but it didn't happen. But I promise you we will. We will win championships with an S at the end here in Phoenix, and I'm going to be here for it with you guys, and we'll have a more fun press conference then.
See, I like what he said there.
You love the
But
bravado.
He has the vibrato, but it goes back to what Rock stated, how much
About
he
4
is
minutes, 4 minutes.
involved. And that told me that he is truly involved and not just a guy
His
who's
neck is on the line.
Yeah, it is on the line. Yes, it is.
And again, that's going to be who the coach is and all those things that are going to surround it. Here he is talking about they will get the next coaching hire right.
We got to get the next hire right, and we will. The team and the roster that was constructed by James, Josh, the scouts, the front office is much better than a 36-win roster. So there's a lot of reasons why Coach Bud's not here. I'm not going to get to all those reasons, but definitely believe we should have won a lot more games and been a lot more competitive during those games as well. And so I wish him the best, but it was the wrong coach for our organization and for that team. And at the end of the day, you can blame me for it because I'm the owner at the end of the day.
Good.
Yes.
Very good.
I was good
I
with
am
that.
now a fan.
Yeah, I was great with that.
Love
3
when
minutes,
another says
3
that.
minutes.
Takes the onus on,
Yep.
takes the
Absolutely.
blame.
It's on him.
And those are the thing. The $64,000 question. You got James Jones' contract is up in June. Here is addressing the future of one James Jones and his CEO and president, Bartlestein.
There's going to be a lot of change. Here's what I'll say. Coach Bud, that change was made. Didn't need more evaluation. Everything's going to be evaluated, but it's going to start with me being accountable and setting an identity, and then making sure that the identity we set for Phoenix Suns is set from the ownership. The fans are going to love it and be proud of it. The front office is aligned. The coaches are aligned. The players are aligned. And there's going to be players that sometimes we don't take the most talented player because they don't align with what we believe in. And so those are the changes I'm going to be focused on right now. And then they'll all will fall into line. And we are going to be making changes, and there's going to be things that are going to be different. And like I said, we will be better. You will enjoy watching our team much better next year. And that's my job. My job is to put, I think there's a lot of things that I do as an owner. But one of the 4 things I talked about when I was just bought the team 2.5 years ago was winning, right? Like we talk about community. I think we're doing a heck of a job. We talk about fan experience. I think we do a lot of things that other people don't do.
All right. I agree with what he said there in the community and fan experience. Absolutely. They've done a terrific job. However, he did not answer
Gotta be
the
his
question.
staff.
Say that.
He did not
He didn't
answer the question.
Is he running for mayor or governor? I mean, skirting around the issue. We will address it at the appropriate time.
Yeah.
You got a lame
Lame
duck
duck
general
GM.
manager right now.
Yeah.
His contract's up in June.
There's not much you can do until the NBA playoffs are on.
Well, I get it.
That
I
is
understand
true.
that.
That is
And
true.
he may, or he could have said, hey, let's just sit tight. We got a lot going on, whatever wants to address the playoffs or not, and then we'll take a good hard look at that. But in the meantime, you've got other players that are watching this or potential free agents going, well, what do I read into that message you just said about James Jones and Bartelstein? Are they or aren't they? Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
He's going to address it at the appropriate time.
Hey, Pavin Smith, he homered, he doubled, he drove in 2 runs. The D-backs won this morning as they swept the Miami Marlins 6-4 today. They have now won 7 of their 8, including 5 straight. Josh Naylor, who was a former Marlins first-round pick, he homered for his 3rd straight game. Pavin's 2nd straight game. He's one of the hottest left-handers in the game right now at the bat. We're going to talk to Bob Nightingale in a little bit, talk to him about that as well as the rest of the National League. We also had a D-back team that stole 6 bases, including 3 by Corbin Carroll, who scored twice. He had 1 stolen base entering this game, so hopefully we'll see more of that. Eddie Rodriguez, he earned the win. He got his first win on the season. He went 5 1/3. He did allow 10 hits. I believe a lot of them are all singles. He had
Clear to toss.
3 runs earned. I should give him 3 runs. 1 of them earned. He struck out 9. And he had 0 walks. A.J. Puck came in for the scoreless 9th. He notched his 4th save of the season. The D-backs did, Miami, they stranded 15 runners today. 15. So they did a good job. They were battling all game. I think at least 2 runners on base almost every inning, which played into that. So you got to give them a lot of credit for not making some big-time mistakes, which the game could have went away. So they'll head to Chicago, and they'll play the Cubs. Next, we'll get into some sounds. You'll hear a couple of these home runs. You'll hear some other highlights from today. We also got Manuch, fresh off his appearance on the Extra Point on Channel 3 last night. Made a big-time statement that I threw my beer at the TV. I could not believe
Bring it on.
What you said. I just
bring it on.
Where the hell do you have the right to say what you said?
I
have no idea.
I can't
We'll get
wait
into
for
that
this.
next. It's Roc and Manuch and Jimmy B from Twin Peaks.
It's Thursday, and the guys are live at Twin Peaks Deer Valley, located in the Deer Valley Town Center. Twin Peaks, the home of the 29-degree beer, served in perfectly frosted 22-ounce mugs. Here's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620.
All right, Roc and Manuch with you, and Jimmy B out here at Twin Peaks Deer Valley. As the D-backs picked up a nice win today. They've won 5 straight. They will play the Chicago Cubs tomorrow morning at around 11-ish. You'll be able to hear that on Arizona Sports 98.7. Let's get started with some of the sounds this morning. Here's Pavin Smith, who had a solo shot in the first inning in the top of the first, which got the score to 2-0.
The 0-2. There's a rocket off the bat to deep right field, and Stowers is going to watch it fly. Another home run for Pavin Smith in this series. He's got 3 on the year, and the D-backs double the lead. It's 2-0.
So that got him started. From there, they gave up a run, but then they got it in the top of the third, and guess who's back up again? Pavin Smith.
Runner goes again. That pitch swung on. That's a liner. Fair inside the left field line. Perdomo heads to third. He is going to be sent around. Now here comes the throw to the plate from Norby. It is saved just under the tag after a long look in by Ballou. And the D-backs lead it 3-1.
So that got everything going. Things were good. And then, Corbin Carroll, who has been playing some pretty good baseball as of late, a lot better than he was last year when we were talking D-backs at this time of the year. He has now 3 stolen bases in this game. He scored twice. Here is the second score.
From the belt, the 1-1.
I'm sorry.
Breaking ball, lined into right field, a base hit. And Stowers comes up firing. Here's the throw to the plate. It is off target. Tawa scores, and Carroll's RBI knock gives the D-backs a 4-1 edge.
I stand corrected. He got Tim Tawa, who got his first home run yesterday in his career. As he walked, he stole second, and he scored on that single. And then Carroll stole second and then scored on Perdomo's single, which made the score 5-1 in the 4th inning. Rodriguez, he had 9 strikeouts on the day, and here's his 8th.
Rodriguez is 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He strikes out Edwards. That's 8 strikeouts on the day, and he's also struck out 8 different Marlins.
He did that, and that was the bottom of the 4th. So he only pitched another 2/3. I think, another 2/3, right? And then last clip, here, Josh Naylor, he had a solo home run to kind of put this game out. This happened in the top of the 5th, which made the score 6-2.
There's a swing. How about a second earned run? Oh, my goodness. This thing is way gone. Home run, Josh Naylor. First pitch nuke. It's his 4th of the year, and the Diamondbacks get that run right back. It is 6-2.
So D-backs sweep. Now they're off to Chicago.
You look at Smith and Naylor, that combo of 3 and 4. Pavin Smith, slugging percentage 745 right now, hitting 404. Talk about getting healthy, getting yourself off the schneid. The stolen bases, you watch this game. Well, there's 3, or there's 4, and then 2 more, and literally they're stealing off of Brantley, the catcher. They know this kid is struggling. And also Cabrera, a lot of pitches. So I forget is it McKay, the first base coach? Not quite sure. They picked up something with this team in the forward scouting early on about his delivery to home plate. And then Brantley, and you're going, wow, 4 stolen bases and 6 stolen bases. So you know that Corbin Carroll was feeling it.
So they had the great weather in Miami. The roof was open there the entire series. Now
Big 8,000 people today.
Yeah, really.
If that.
Another big crowd. Now they go to Chicago. They have the White Sox game on right now. They're playing the A's in Chicago. Everybody is dressed like it is wintertime. I mean, parkas, hoodies.
Ugh.
It's going to be a difference in the weather when they get off that airplane tonight and get ready to play tomorrow.
Well, they got another big front coming through.
They do.
This weekend. You might see highs of, 35 to 45 as far as that. But, you're going to face a first-place team in the Cubs, National League Central, that are hitting the heck out of the ball. They're getting some good pitching. But you look at this National League West right now, the first 3 teams, look at their records, best records in all of baseball. I mean, all of baseball. Those top 3, then the Diamondbacks would be like tied in the American League Central or American League East.
It's unbelievable how good, out of the box anyway, those 4 teams are playing.
Well, and you're going to have to keep pace. Padres won 8 out of 10.
Yep.
Dodgers, they're slumping. They only won 5 out of 10, but they're still right there. And then there's the Giants. So I think as long as they're hitting, but the one thing about Erod today, runners in scoring position with the 10 hits and only the couple runs scored, he struck out some batters. As far as you talk about left on base by the Marlins, he left a lot of runners on, a lot of runners stranded.
So Manuch last night was on the Extra Point, which can be seen on Arizona Family's Channel 3. I believe it comes on around 10:30. So if you were up late, you probably saw this big face with like he was at a library because of what his backdrop was. Not like,
that's the
most guys have like man caves. You have all your sports stuff. Like if you see me, you'll see all kinds of fun, cool stuff that shows that you actually work in sports or maybe played in sports. But Manuch, it's his wife's office.
Yeah, it is.
Clearly, because there's
Books.
nothing there.
You missed the K-State helmet.
And how many of those, clearly, I think it's so funny when you see these people doing these podcasts, stuff like that. You see all these books. None of them read.
They're
those
not
books.
reading.
They're just
I've read most of them. Lori's read most of them. Those books.
I'm not asking. We're not talking about Lori.
Yeah, but
We're
I
talking
have.
about you.
I have.
Talking about you.
Yeah, I got my trophies. They just couldn't see them. You can only take so much of the room up. But.
So the big question was, well, not one. There's a few, but it has to do with Tyler Shuck, who is going to be drafted in the draft next Thursday, a week from today. He's a local product. He
4 minutes.
used to practice with Brock Purdy, who of course is with the San Francisco 49ers, who Manuch coached. Manuch also coached Tyler Shuck. I think he's been, 3 colleges, 4 colleges?
3.
3 colleges. And, we'll just get to the sound. Here he is. This being Dan Manucci, longtime Valley sports personality.
The thing about Tyler is his overall maturity. I look at him and several of these guys. It's so interesting. Those 5 or 6 quarterbacks I mentioned, they're all kind of old souls. They get it early on. They understand what they want. But with Tyler specifically, he's dialed in from day one. I've been working with him since 8th grade. His dad, Glenn Shuck, brought him out with his younger brother. And we worked, and he just always had that acumen, that demeanor.
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
So when I see Tyler now, the way he ran the offense at Oregon, at Texas Tech, and especially this year at Louisville, staying healthy the entire year, running that offense to an all-new level with Jeff Brom's offense. And Jeff Brom's offense at Louisville, it's a very NFL-type offense. And so he can throw on the run, he can throw off platform, he can stand in the pocket, he can take a hit, he can deliver the ball while taking a hit. And that's why I feel he's, if not the top quarterback, one of the top quarterbacks to come out the draft.
Now, he did go on to say, and this is where, that's the part of the clip that I disagree with, that he's the top quarterback coming out. But if the video continues, the audio continues, then you say most NFL quarterback ready. Very important.
Yes.
Because if you just hear that first part, I think a lot of people are rolling their eyes. And they would say, if I'm starting a team tomorrow, I'm going to draft Cam Ward.
Yeah.
I'm going to draft Shedeur Sanders, before Tyler Shuck. Now, you're biased because you know this kid since he's the 8th grade, and he's a great kid. He's been on our show multiple times. He's already married, right?
Got married to Jordan last year.
He's a top player. But if you're just hearing that clip that he's the best player coming out, come on. Did he be the first-round pick?
Well, and he might be a first-round pick.
Matter of
fact, at ESPN.com, first thing this morning, I open it up, and they're talking about Tyler Shuck's maturity, his ability. Sure. They must have watched last night. They on Channel 3. But they said almost echoed the same exact thing, Rock. Now, he might not be the most talented, but he's got the skill set. He might be the most NFL ready. When I say that, as far as running an NFL offense, he's 26 years old. Nothing unnerves him. He's
same age as Brock.
Okay. He's nothing unnerves him whatsoever. And he's seen it all. And I think the biggest key is what I mentioned.
He's seen it all in college.
Yes, he has. But what I think he's done is the reps, the games he's played, big time games, playing for Jeff Brom there in Louisville. has got him ready for a lot of the things he's going to see.
Because the style of play they
Yeah, I think style of play and the kind of offense
They
that
run
he is.
a pro set.
That pro set. That's why I went to Louisville for his last year. Is to get him ready to go do that. Now you looked at Bo Nix. I said that last year. I said that about Deshaun Watson, and they came out and
About
they
a minute
had
left.
success.
1 minute.
So you look at last year, and you look at Brock Purdy coming out third string, his very first year. The success he had late in the year of his first year. So reps matter, maturity matters. You ain't got to be the greatest skill set guy. You know, look at Brock. Brock's really good. And Tyler's outstanding with arm strength, size, all the above.
Who's
But
a
if
better
you-
quarterback coming out?
Oh, coming out versus Brock versus Tyler? I think Tyler is. Yeah, you'll
Wow.
get Tyler and then Brock. If you go in 1A, 1B,
Where do you put Bryce Perkins?
I would have put Bryce at probably.
They were different type quarterbacks.
Yeah, he was more of a. He was true.
These, of course, if you're just tuning in, these are guys that Manuch coach.
Yeah. By the way, congratulations, Bryce Perkins. Got named Player of the Week in the UFL last week for the Michigan Panthers. He's more of that true dual threat guy, and not that Tyler and Brock aren't dual threats. They are in their own way. They can make plays, but Bryce can rely on his legs. He can rely on his arm. He's that true dual threat guy that comes out.
You guys are good to toss.
So you don't need talent, is what you're saying.
You need talent, Ron. You got to have
You
some
said
talent.
he doesn't have the talent, but he's got the skill.
You got to be able.
You
to
don't need the talent.
You got to be able to throw a little bit, move a little bit, have
Hey,
good
if he
feet.
gets drafted in the second round, third round, that's great. It's just looking at what I've looked at in the draft, where the needs are. I don't think he's going to go ahead of a Sanders or maybe even Dart. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's you're hearing all these different pundits saying different things.
Yeah, the difference is now that Carr is going to be most likely lost for the entire season with the New Orleans Saints. They will indeed be shopping for a quarterback, so that may open up a slot for a Tyler Shuck to slide maybe, if indeed Sanders is gone, like we think he will. Ward is going to be gone.
When you say slide, aren't the Saints at number 9 or
Number
something?
9, yeah. So what I'm saying is he could slide. In other words, where you say maybe he's a second or third rounder, he could slide.
I see
all
more
the
of a
way
scenario
into
with
that
like
slide.
I see more of a scenario of say the Giants taking
Abdul Carter.
yeah, or if Hunter doesn't go to Cleveland,
right,
and then they trade up, and then they could take him as the
him.
second pick.
Okay.
And a lot of
Second pick, wherever that is.
Yeah.
and the other two is a lot of these guys look at, okay, who fits our
We'll
system?
get to it, Connor. We're good.
Fits our system the best. What quarterback we feel after interviewing, after vetting him, after watching him, do we feel fits what we want to do? I mean, that's a lot of that too. I mean, look at Josh Allen going to Buffalo. Big, strong guy.
You're
phenomenal
going
arm.
on record with Tyler Shuck that he's quarterback ready, can start tomorrow
Yes,
in the NFL.
I feel so. Absolutely, I do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, you heard it first. You heard it from the man who coached him since the 8th grade. And you know, this is a paid endorsement you're hearing from Manuch. It's not like Tyler he's trained him since the 8th grade for free.
Yeah.
Manuch gets paid to do this. That's why he went on Extra Point.
Yeah.
He's trying to sell Tyler Shuck to get higher in the draft, so he gets some perks.
Hey, I've never turned down an interview yet, Rock. You know that.
Shit. We know that. Hey, sounds are brought to you by Lerner and Rowe, and the Lerner and Rowe gives back 12th annual golf tournament. It's at McCormick Ranch next Friday. They have raised over $1 million each of the last 2 years. They hope to do it this year as well. Special shout outs to some of the big time sponsors: Collision Chiropractic, Pro Performance, Stamp Medical, and ChiroFit, Collision Experts. So if you want to play, there are maybe 2, maybe 3 foursomes left. If you want to play, head to LearnerRowGivesBack.com. Coming up next, we'll talk some baseball with Bob Nightingale from USA Today. But first, here's Jax with a Twin Peaks ESPN 620 update.
It's now time for your Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B's Twin Peaks ESPN 620 update. I'm Jackson Groff. The Arizona Diamondbacks made most of just 5 hits, capping off a sweep against the Miami Marlins with a 6-4 win earlier today's game. Pavin Smith and Josh Naylor each launched solo shots, giving Arizona 9 homers in the series. Franchise tied for the most. They also swiped 5 bags in the first 4 innings, which is a franchise first. Now they ride their momentum of a 5-game win streak into the key weekend series at Wrigley Field against the 12-9 Cubs. Over to the NBA, Suns owner Matt Ishbia didn't sugarcoat things in his press conference, calling the team's 36-46 season, quote, a failure.
15.
He said he needs to make changes coming, admitting that
what he's tried the last 2.5 years has not been successful. NBA playoffs begin on Saturday, and Twin Peaks is the best place for all the hoops. Get into your favorite location for all 5 Twin Peaks locations on the NBA playoffs. Locations include Scottsdale, Tempe, Glendale, Phoenix, and where the guys are today, Deer Valley. That's Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views. Bob Nightingale next.
Arena Sports Grill in Scottsdale on Bell Road.
It's Thursday, and the guys are live at Twin Peaks Deer Valley, located in the Deer Valley Town Center. Twin Peaks, the home of the 29-degree beer, served in perfectly frosted 22-ounce mugs. Here's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620.
The 0-2. There's a rocket off the bat to deep right field, and Stowers is going to watch it fly. Another home run for Pavin Smith in this.
Make it Mike saw it.
He's got 3 on the year, and the D-backs double the lead. It's 2-0.
And they go on to win today as they take care of the Miami Marlins. They sweep them. They head over to Chicago now to take on the Cubs. Bob Nightingale joins us now, talk some baseball. USA Today, of course, columnist, and he joins us here on the Right to It guest line. What is with this National League, Bob? Top 6, 7 teams, if you want to throw the Diamondbacks in there. When you look at power rankings, it's all National League right now. Dodgers, Padres, Phillies, Mets, Cubs, Giants, and you put the Diamondbacks in there. Is this something you think will continue? Is your crystal ball think that this continue?
Well, I do. I think the National League is that much stronger than the American League. Even this free agent period over the winter, they all went to the National League. No, it's unbelievable how strong it is. I think, we talked about when the Yankees won their World Series last year, I think they would have finished fourth in the National League West. Because I think, obviously Dodgers and Padres are better. I think the Diamondbacks were too. And so, I mean, here you are, the Diamondbacks, fourth best record in baseball, and only in fourth place in their own division.
The Dodgers, they're betting well. They're 500 in the last 10 games, but I think most people feel that they're going to be there. Do you see a way, aside from injury, that the Padres and the Giants could cool off to give the D-backs an opportunity? I know they play 26 times still for the rest of the season. I know it's young, but what will it take? What will it take?
The Giants are kind of playing over their heads. I saw the Padres that matter, but I just don't see the Giants keeping that up. I think they're an 81, 85 win team. I don't think they're going to win over 90 games type thing. I really don't. Padres are good, so obviously the Dodgers are too. So I think it's a three-headed monster. Going down there, and we'll see what happens with the if the Diamondback pitching staff lives up to expectations. They can be right there at the end. But as long as you get in, it doesn't matter if you have fourth place, as long as three wild cards come from the National League West.
And Bob, to that point, when you, I guess what we're all talking about is that the Diamondbacks keeping pace with the Padres, Giants, and Dodgers. Watching this team just pick up what they did last year as far as hitting the baseball, is it just about their pitching coming around? They had 2 errors today. They seem to be scuffling a little bit, but will that be the key throughout the season, or does the pitching rotation have to pick it up a little bit?
I think they'll pick it up. I think last year that was a disappointment. You thought guys were going to pitch better and they didn't. But certainly, they're deep enough. And, got Nelson as the sixth starter, pitching lights out of the bullpen. So I see no reason why they can't keep it up. And, offensively, I think it's been a little surprise, particularly with what Pavin Smith is doing and what Naylor is doing. I mean, Naylor is picked, right up where Christian Walker left off. I thought it'd be a big hole there without Walker, but Naylor has still filled it pretty well. And this is all without Marte too, so that's encouraging.
Do you feel that Corbin Burns is starting to get his land legs? Looks like Erod is struggling a little bit as well too. Again, early in the season, but are you starting to see them both come around as far as mechanic-wise is concerned?
Yeah, Corbin Burns is no concern at all. I mean, he's a workhorse, always going to go every start. Win the Cy Young for a reason. So I think he'll be just fine. I don't, he's at least worries. Rodriguez, you kind of would hope that he would step up a little bit, where he's just been so. I mean, he certainly hasn't been the pitcher that they envision. Obviously, he was hurt for a while. I think he'd be more of a concern over Rodriguez certainly than Corbin Burns or anybody else in rotation.
Bob Nightingale is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Bob, my question is the bullpen. Today it was A.J. Puck who worked as the closer. Does it matter at all that Torey Lovallo still has not named a closer, that he is doing it by committee? I mean, I understand the premise for baseball, but does it matter at all?
It doesn't. I mean, though he doesn't name him. I mean, obviously, you've gotten a Puck a few times now. Obviously, he's a closer. I mean, you don't want to say it, but he's a closer. And, but yeah, I think just going to keep Martinez in that role. They like him, the 8th inning role. I think last year he was a little nervous in 9th inning. I mean, obviously, he's their full-time closer of the future. And I think Torey Lovallo just doesn't say, who's my closer, because he wants to be able to mix and match, rather than someone say, oh, by the way, how can you use your closer? But I think, Puck has been that guy.
I thought it was interesting that Martinez came in. What was it? The 7th inning, bases loaded. He walks in a run, but coming in at that point, since Thompson was really scuffling with those 2 walks, did you find that surprised you, Bob, that Martinez would come in that early just for the 1 out, get the strikeout?
No, you see managers do that now. If it's a high leverage situation, let me get my best guy there.
Yeah.
And that's been Martinez. So, you see that a lot of times in the playoffs where guys will come in the 6th inning or even 5th inning sort of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him even earlier in some games, particularly some key games, just to get a key matchup there. So, no, I thought it was it's smart. I mean, sometimes, those games can be lost in the 7th or 8th inning. Why might as well putting your best guys in instead of waiting for the 9th, but it may be too late.
Bob, I want to shift gears with you and talk about the American League. with Aaron Judge. Remarks this week from Mets Juan Soto calling him the best hitter in baseball. Would you agree he's the best hitter in baseball right now, or would you give that nod to that guy in L.A.?
No, I would say Judge.
Okay.
I think he's the best player in baseball.
Best
I'm
hitter.
surprised that Soto would say that. I mean, Pete Alonso's been, playing great. He's as hot as anybody right now. So for Soto to say that right now, what happens when Alonso cools off?
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly what you don't want to hear for a guy that just paid, $7 or $65 million, complaining about the support behind you. If you're getting that kind of money, you don't have to worry about your support. Do it yourself. You're not hearing Aaron Judge ever complain about who's seated behind him.
Who has more pressure on him? Is it the Mets or the Yankees in the city of New York? Because of all that you just mentioned, they both have some big time payrolls.
4 minutes.
Yeah, no, great question. I would say still the Yankees, just because the Yankees, they haven't won a World Series since 2009. I know the Mets haven't won either since 86. I think pressure on the Mets to make the playoffs, probably more pressure on the Yankees to win the World Series.
Bob, when you look at the American League West, we went over this yesterday. You look at all the teams. Every one of the team has a negative run differential, But yet the Rangers are 11-7. The Angels 9-8, followed by Seattle, Houston, Athletics, A's, 3 games back. But that might be a first. You see it a little bit in the Central, American League Central. My negative run differential and being at the top of your division.
Yeah, that's hard to do. It really is. Some of those run differentials get carried away. It's like, okay, the Dodgers, gave up lost the game 16-0 the other day when they had a position player in there. So those teams get carried away some. I think the Texas Rangers are for real. I think they're the best team in the American League. And particularly when DeGrom is, pitching well and he's been healthy. So I like the Rangers. I think the Rangers will be very
2 minutes.
Playoff time.
Bob, take me to the Oakland A's. They have the Chicago White Sox-Oakland A's game on right now. Look, we all know the White Sox are putting a Double-A team on the field, but Oakland is capitalizing. Is this a team that is very young, but they do have some really good players? Could we see the Oakland A's in some form this summer start to be impressive and maybe even make a run?
No, definitely. I don't see them making the playoffs this year.
Right.
I certainly think they're going to make the playoffs before they leave Sacramento. So 2 more years. So no, I think they're they're an impressive team, young, athletic, got some guys coming. So no, they're a good team. I just don't. I think it's too much now. They already picked up 19 games, improved up by that a year ago. I can't see them picking up another 19 games this year, and be in the playoff team.
Bob, we always appreciate you, man. Thank you for some time today.
A pleasure. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Bob Nightingale, USA Today baseball columnist. You can follow him on X at @BNightingale. Appreciate him taking some time. Bob's a local resident. I had luxury of hanging out with him about a month ago, and enjoyed some wine together at a celebrity wine and spirits event in Scottsdale.
Were you hosting? Were you the celebrity?
I was not the celebrity, but I was one of the hosts. I was one of the hosts.
Were you one of the personalities?
Yes.
No, it was probably Bob Nightingale. No, Tom Chambers was there with tequila, and Dusty Baker was there, and there were a few others.
So cleared around.
The Bella Twins.
Why are you hanging with me and Manuch then? Why aren't you like hobnobbing?
Good therapy for him to hang out with us.
It's definitely not good therapy. Hey, we're losing a staple on Saturday mornings in the world of college football, and we're gonna talk about that next. Plus, we have our underdog picks in the NBA. We'll get to those. We appreciate you hanging out with us today. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B right now here on ESPN 620 and on FM at 98.7 HD2.
It's Thursday, and the guys are live at Twin Peaks Deer Valley, located in the Deer Valley Town Center. Twin Peaks, the home of the 29-degree beer, served in perfectly frosted 22-ounce mugs. Here's Roc and Manuch
Mugs are hot.
on ESPN 620.
All right, let's get to our underdog picks. We're going to do some NBA. And, Jax, why don't you break it all down since you haven't had much airtime in the last, 4 weeks you've been gone?
Give or take.
A long time. Yeah. We did not do well as a group. Manuch, the only solo underdog victor. The Cavs lost by 8. We had the Cavaliers plus 9.5. Roc had the Pelicans plus 13.5 against the Bucks. The Bucks won by 25. Jimmy B and Connor had the Nets plus 13.5 against the Hawks. They lost by 24. And I had the Knicks plus 3.5 against the Pistons. Knicks lost by 9. Kind of a tough area. You didn't know who was sitting, who was playing, but we have a new week in the NBA playoffs, so hopefully we can get some victories.
All right, this week I feel bad for the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks, Nico.
Nico
So
Harrison. Yeah.
I'm going to see if Dallas can play like they did last night. If they can, maybe they can pick up this W with Memphis. It's a stretch, but they are getting 6.5, so I'll take the Dallas Mavericks.
I'm going to go with the Bucks plus 5.5 versus the Pacers. Even though Damian Lillard has been cleared, he probably won't play in this playoff series, but the blood clot has cleared, able to go. But I still think that the Bucks, if not winning that game, can stay within 5.5.
I'm going to hang with the Detroit Pistons. Look, this team has improved so much, and they have a dynamite defensive style, and they can score with Cade Cunningham. So I'm going to grab the Pistons and 7.5 at the Knicks. Jax.
Well, I hate that we have the same one. I think I
know.
put it on the lineup before you, but I'll let it slide. Jimmy B, I haven't seen you in a while, so I'll let it slide. But
And
I
that's
do
a
like
good thing.
the Pistons. I mean, this team coming back in the playoffs is great for the NBA.
Yep.
This, to me, just seems like one of those games that the Knicks start out slow. I know Jalen Brunson coming off of an injury. I like the youth of the Pistons. Give me Pistons plus 7.5. Connor?
I'm a little worried because I'm following suit here with Jimmy B and Jack.
Oh, man.
I'm also rolling Detroit. I like what you guys are saying here. I think Cade Cunningham's starting to turn into his own, and you got this team starting to play with a little bit of swagger. And that Thibodeau run team, man, it's beat up. Those guys are hurting. So I think Detroit's able to jump on them.
All right, those are our underdog picks. We'll have our locks tomorrow. All right, let's get you on this day, 1976 at Wrigley Field. Mike Schmidt leads the Phillies' assault with a single, 4 home runs in consecutive at-bats, 8 RBI to overcome a 12-1 deficit after 3 innings. They beat the Cubs in 10, 18-16. Now, what's interesting in this game, Chicago ties the game in the 9th after Phillies had taken a 15-13 lead. Mike Schmidt enters the game batting 167. He connects for 2 homers off Rick Russell, 1 off Mark Carman, and the last one, a 2-run shot off of Rick Russell's brother, Paul.
Yeah.
He also became the first National League player in modern times to hit 4 home runs in a row. 1999, the quarterbacks go 1, 2, and 3. Tim Couch, Donovan McNabb, and Achilles Smith go to Cleveland, Philly, and Cincinnati. That's the first quarterback trifecta since 1971.
Achilles Smith, I forgot all about him. You know, he bombed there in Cincinnati.
He played one good season at Oregon, and that was it.
But his son's a hell of a quarterback coming through.
And Patrick Corbin on this day, 2018, he spins a gem. D-backs shut out the Giants 1-0 on a 1-hitter. He kept the Giants hitless until 2 are out in the 8th as Brandon Belt hits a little scribbler down third base, and he was able to beat it out. The game still was scoreless at that point, but in the bottom of the 9th, Arizona scores on a run. Only needed a run, and it got a walk from Jared Dyson. Remember David? He was like a top pick, right?
Yeah, Dyson.
And sacrifice bunt by Corbin, and then a single by David Peralta. It was Corbin's first career shutout. Let's get to some football at 50. Man, it's a bummer, but you knew it was coming. Lee Corso has announced, or I should say Disney has announced, that he has retired. He's going to turn 90 this year, as he has been a staple on College Game Day. 89 years old. It's been on the show since their inception in 1987. Of course, the mascot headgear prediction pick at the end of the show was the signature segment each and every week. And we saw him kind of getting like Manuch and Jimmy B. The more they're on the air, they're getting a little slower, not quite with it, which, you know, when you're in your 80s and close to being 90s, things are going to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's, you know it was coming.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll do something pretty special for him.
Well, I think they kind of kept a lot of his last couple of years, a lot of his comment to a minimum. He'd have his diatribe once in a while, and he would do the head thing, but they kind of controlled it. And you could see Kirk Herbstreit help him out once in a while.
Yeah.
The guy's, you know, in his late 80s, I thought he was still pretty sharp. Still being able to entertain.
You guys are still doing it?
Yeah. We try to entertain as much as we can, you know, keep that Prevagen going as we like to do. But he's going to be missed, Rock. I really believe he's going to be missed. I don't know who picks. Is McAfee pick up the role?
McAfee.
I don't think there's anything you need to pick up.
I feel like they retire it.
I think they retire it.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that there is something that you tune in at 8:50 every Saturday morning because you want to see who Lee Corsel's going to pick, as well as the panel, right?
Yeah.
You want to see. I mean, I literally will, in most cases, bet against the panel. I'll get my DraftKings out because they don't do that well.
Yeah,
they really don't.
You think if he's still sharp enough that they do a quick hit with him with a camera at his house?
No.
And he does, and he just puts a helmet.
No, he'll do the last game, and that'll be.
You know what sucks is, and we've seen this, and we've all seen it. Everyone listening, when you stop being active at that age, things start to turn, and that's the part that I feel bad. You know, I mean. You guys are active. You guys are older in dirt. And if you didn't have this job, you both could be retired. I mean, you're older. You're old enough to both retire, and you're still doing it. You got to be active. The older you are, you got to be active.
Yeah.
And if you weren't,
2 minutes.
like Jimmy, I mean, if you weren't doing the show, what are you going to be sitting at Sun Lakes all day, just sitting by the pool and chasing the women, right?
Colada.
Playing, shuffleboard.
You haven't seen the women there, so I would not be chasing them.
Your girl's out of town. You can talk.
You're a woman.
Yeah, I would love to know what goes on when your girl's out of town. Jimmy B's got the ladies over. You know, he's walking around with
minute and a half
socks on, and he's got the slides.
Hey,
by the way, is that doable?
What's that?
Slides and wearing socks with slides.
Never.
I think it's a prerequisite out there.
Not for your boy here.
Your Birkenstocks and
I
your
don't
socks.
wear-
Yeah, you guys are cheesy wearing Birkenstocks. They're the cheesiest.
I never wear socks unless it's below 35 degrees.
Socks up to his calf, up high.
Man.
Tree huggers.
Oh, man. Not
Wearing
me.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Jimmy, if you're putting an umbrella in that pina colada, we're going to talk about you.
Man.
Aaron Rodgers, after what's it been? I don't know. It's been a while since he's done any TV interviews. Maybe 3 months?
Yeah, give or take.
Well, he went on Pat McAfee today. It was an outstanding interview. It might have been 20, 40 minutes. I mean, it seemed like it was a long time. We're going to bring some of that back to you.
30 seconds.
Bill Belichick is trying to reclaim his catchphrases the way Taylor Swift does her albums. So we'll have that. It's a pretty interesting story to pass along, too. Hour number 2 from Twin Peaks, Deer Valley is next. Appreciate you hanging out with us, Roc and Manuch. Jimmy B, Jax, and Connor got the team back together after Jax took his 1 month vacation. You're lucky you got your job.
Damn.
So more Roc and Manuch. Jimmy B continues. ESPN 620.
And now, an on-air sports marketing presentation. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at arizonasports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Well, D-backs, they sweep the Marlins. That game just concluded about an hour and a half ago. And Matt Ishbia broke his silence. Two big local stories. On the national level, speaking of breaking silence, Aaron Rodgers finally resurfaced this week. And he did it today on the Pat McAfee, adding the speculation surrounding his NFL future and kind of gave some rare insight on his personal life. And it was a very engaging. I mean, I don't know if that's the great word I'm going to use.
Transparent?
No. I'm talking about how I took it. I mean, I was mesmerized. I am not an Aaron Rodgers fan, but once he started talking and he basically said, "I'm setting this straight." You know, there's all this minutia out there. There's all these people talking. There's talking heads like us that are embellishing stories and making a lot of crap up. And he basically just came out and, you know, he's got a serious romance now with his, I think, Brittany or somebody like that. He's talking to teams and he's got some personal issues that I'm glad that people aren't going up that road, up that tree, trying to find out what they are. Clearly, they are a big deal.
To him, they are, yes.
Well, it doesn't matter who they are.
Yeah,
it's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're clearly a big deal, and it's in his inner circle. And, you know, he hit the free agency market after the Jets said, hey, we're going another direction. You know, they signed all those guys, and they're still looking for an answer, a quarterback, I think. But we're going to bring some sound back to you because what happened, was it in February? I think it was in February that he, on his own dime, flew from California to New York to meet with the Jets' new general manager and their new head coach, Coach Glenn, Aaron Glenn. And he expected this to be a 2-hour meeting. Ended up being more like a 15-minute meeting. Here is a couple minutes of him talking about this pretty bad exit meeting.
The confusing thing to me and the strange thing was, you know, when I went out there, I meet with the coach. We start talking. He runs out of the room. I'm like, that's kind of strange. I was like, then he comes back with the GM. And I'm like, all right. So we sit down in the office. And I think we're going to have this long conversation. I've flown across the country. And 20 seconds in, he goes, I mean, literally, I'm talking to the GM about something. And he leans to the edge of his sheet and goes, so do you want to play football? And I was like, yeah, I'm interested. And he said, we're going a different direction at quarterback. And I said, and I was kind of shocked. Now, not shocked because I didn't think that was a possibility. Listen, of course, they want to move on. That's totally fine. But shocked because I just flew across country. You could have told me this on the phone. If we weren't even going to have a conversation, and this is verbatim exactly how it happened. So I said, huh? And he goes, we just want to know how you want it released, the messaging. And I said, verbatim, I don't give a shit about the message. And I said, why? And then he said, I don't want to be up in front of the room saying something and have guys looking back at you.
Interesting.
And I said, what does that even mean? Are you assuming that I would be in the back of the room during a team meeting, undermining?
About 25 seconds left in this clip.
I said, you don't know me. And he said, you don't know me. And then I said, exactly, which is why I flew across the country to have a face-to-face meeting with you to talk about my experience with the Jets and to hear your vision for the team. 20 seconds in. What I thought was going to be a couple-hour meeting turned into like a 15-minute meeting. And I walked out of there.
Aaron Rodgers earlier today, at least 30, 40 minutes on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN. It's the first time you're hearing him.
That's the first time I heard it. The first thought is, you know what, if that was their intentions all the way, why not set up a Zoom call so he doesn't come out, waste his time, money, whatever, and have a very, have a whatever, whether it's contentious or not, do it via Zoom or phone call, whatever. They knew as he was flying out that he wasn't going to be part of this team.
Right.
So do a Zoom call, talk about it. Everybody, the only thing I can think of is Aaron Rodgers wanted to go out there no matter what to show that he's still interested, that he'd still like to be a part of the team, at least talk about it. But if they decided, hey, look, Aaron, we appreciate all you've done, we're going to move on. Here's why. I think you're always looking for that explanation you're never going to get. I've been cut twice, and it's why and how come and okay. We appreciate what you've done, but they could have did that via Zoom or a phone call. I was a little disrespectful to Aaron Rodgers. I felt that way.
I've been fired twice on TV jobs at different stations.
Soon to be
fired again, probably.
Yeah,
wouldn't shock me. And my meetings were similar to what he just talked about. You walk in thinking that you're going to get explanations, and you got no explanation at all. And in the first 15 seconds, you're out. So to me, it was painfully obvious that what Manuch just referenced, it could have been a phone call or a Zoom call. And why did you let him fly all the way across the country to meet in person?
The other thing, too, that was very disingenuous to him, to assume or call him out that if Aaron Glenn was having a meeting, he'd have to worry about Aaron Rodgers being a disruptor, chatting in the back, whatever. Aaron Rodgers they've always said he's always been a phenomenal teammate. He's always been that guy, that leader. For them to say that, he's like, and that's why he said, are you serious?
About 4 minutes.
You
4
think
minutes.
I would actually undermine you in a meeting, whatever? You don't know me.
Yep.
I'm one of the hardest working guys ever as a quarterback. I thought that was very disingenuous. That was a shot at him.
Yeah.
I think an unfair shot.
I'm curious the route he wants to go. I kind of took away that he is going to play again. He's going to play.
I got that feeling.
And I think, he didn't say yes or no to Pittsburgh or the New York Giants or the Minnesota Vikings, but I know Pat was kind of pushing him a little bit. Sounds like the Pittsburgh situation is probably the best one, is what I took.
Area.
And here is what he's talking about. It's not about the money. It's just about the right situation.
But I had some good conversations. But I've been upfront with all of them, starting with the money thing. I told every single one of the teams I talked to, it ain't about the money.
About 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
I don't care. I never once said I need a multi-year deal, $30, $40 million. It's absolute bull. I said I'd play for 10. Yeah, whatever.
Well, I thought you were a selfish prick.
Yeah.
I thought that's what it was. I just saw a guy sign for 60 million or 55 million or whatever.
Yeah, it's Pat McAfee show. Apologize for the verbiage there. $10 million, man. Monty, if you wanted to come to Phoenix, it's an hour and a half flight. 2-hour flight maybe over to California, but that's not going to happen. Our last clip, here he is. This is pretty funny. He had to sneak into Pittsburgh for the meeting. He went into a really small airport. And he rented a Malibu car, a Chevy Malibu?
Chevy
Malibu. And he talks about his relationship with Mike Tomlin as well.
Obviously, I went out to Pittsburgh and tried to do that as quick.
About 2 minutes left. 2 minutes in the segment.
I did fly into a different airport, not the downtown. I'll tell you what I did secretly. I flew into a different airport. I got a Malibu rental car. Drove the Malibu rental car to the facility, to the backside practice field, got let in the practice field, and then somebody in the building must have said something. And when I came out, there was like some cameras that were pointed, but there ain't no way they thought, this dude is not going to be in a Malibu right now. He's not going to be in a Malibu rental car, is he? Talked to Mike Tomlin. He's more than I even thought. From afar, as far as the type of person that he is. I have a lot of respect for what he's accomplished in the league. Arthur Smith, you guys have had Art on the show many times.
Love him.
Talk about a guy that doesn't need to work. Doesn't need to work. but he's a grinder. We've had a friendship for a couple of years now, and I just like what he's all about. I like when he's on your show.
Darren Rogers today on the Pat McAfee Show. There's a lot more to it. You
About
can
a
go
minute
online
left.
and check
About a minute.
that out. But I do think Pittsburgh's going to happen. It's no rush. I mean, there was some talk in this interview about the fact last year he didn't go to the not the spring practice. What do you call the OTAs? That was a big deal.
Yeah,
but there are really a lot of there's a lot you can take away from that interview. There was a lot of stuff that he said. He opened up. I just think it's funny how so much is made about what the media portrays certain players and how they portray them, and it makes me really hate this profession sometimes on how bad it is when a player has to come out and literally say, "This is I'm gonna shoot it straight. This is the deal." I don't know where this media where they're getting this crap from because it's BS.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is for a lot of teams like Pittsburgh and any other that need a quarterback, all you got is Mason Rudolph right now.
Feel free to wrap whenever.
That's all you have. So that door is going to remain open before the draft, after the draft. And I know he's not concerned about the draft at all. And now he'll look at everything, weigh his options out. I know he's considering retirement, but he can still play. He can go into Pittsburgh and be with DK Metcalf and that receiving corps.
Yep.
I mean, this is a great window for him to go into Pittsburgh right now.
They got into that with they showed some video of him working out with them at UCLA, and so with DK.
Oh my gosh, Pickett, and you got DK. I mean Pickens, Pickens, and I mean I'm going. That's a pretty good group besides your running, and then you got the defense. Now all they need is a guy to get them beyond the first playoff game in Pittsburgh.
Rodgers would be great because Pickens is still pretty immature and does some stupid things, and I'm being nice on the field. Rodgers could change that right away.
Well, DK Metcalf may change that too.
Yeah, you're right.
With the young
you're
kid.
right.
We'll talk some more draft in about 15 minutes as we'll catch up with Yogi Roth, Big Ten analyst, get his thoughts on some of the guys that are coming out, specifically Tyler Shuck from Chandler. I'll get his view on him. But next, we'll shift gears a little bit. Got a little Rock's Man Vice. Haven't done it in a while. What's the most polite way to tell someone to F off?
Oh.
And did some dude on TikTok prove the 5-second rule is BS? We are live from Twin Peaks in Deer Valley here on ESPN 620.
Rock when it comes to romance.
What do you say we go out on a date? Have some chicken, maybe some sex. See what happens.
Rock searches the world for tips on dating, divorce, marriage, pop culture, and even... yeah, here's Rock's man advice.
60% of the time, it works every time.
All right, it's been a while.
Uh-huh.
Now, passive-aggressive people will love this. What's the most polite way you can tell someone to F off? I have put together a list.
Okay.
One of the big ones is, of course, when you're driving around the Valley of the Sun. There are a lot of people that don't know how to drive.
Amen.
You got that right.
A lot of people have the little clown cars like Jimmy.
Yeah, it's a nice little two-door coupe sport.
Yeah, it's with the seat riser and all, the pillow,
the booster chair.
So instead of flipping off another driver, you blow him a kiss.
Really? Okay. It's kind of a backhanded compliment, if you will.
Because you're like, if you cut somebody off, you're getting flipped off, right? You know it's gonna happen. Yeah. So instead, they blow you a kiss. I mean,
my bad. Sorry.
If someone's a jerk and sends a long, ranting email, just reply with one word answer, because it drives people nuts. We get them as talk show hosts. People will email you. They like the show, hate the show. Most of it's they hate the show.
Yep.
And I've never done this, but I will now moving forward. You just say noted.
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 Interesting.
That's a way to tell them F off.
I like that.
Because I normally say when somebody bitches and they put this huge, like 2-3 paragraphs on something we said, I just say thanks for listening. Because they always will. Artie Spanier. Remember Artie Spanier?
Sure do. Yeah.
Everybody hated Artie.
Yeah.
But they listened to him.
Yeah.
He had great ratings. People listened to him. Another one. This is a classic one from the Deep South. Bless your heart. Just bless your heart, right?
Yeah.
You hear that. You always wonder about that one.
A couple more. This one works if you're religious or not. Just say, I'll pray for you. I'll just pray for you, right? And then sometimes, let them rant. Then hit them with, be that it may.
Be that as it may.
Be that as it may.
Be that as
it may. And then the last one, you just say it back and you add please. F you please. So there you have it.
Awesome.
4 things, smart things to do with your tax refund if you got some money. Like we're waiting to get some.
Got a couple bucks back.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah.
Pay off the credit card. Average APR is 20%. So come on, take care of that. Start an emergency fund. The economy's kind of iffy. You don't know what's going to happen next 3 to 6 months. So you need to have that much in living expenses. Invest it. Stock prices are down right now. They're going to go up. It always happens. And then finally, buy something that might cost you more later. Maybe you need a new washing machine, maybe a new car. You go over to Right Toyota tomorrow, So
they get that much back, that's for sure.
So the 5-second rule, right?
Yeah, sure.
What does it mean?
That's about my sex life.
If something falls on the ground and in 5 seconds, either pick it up or I need it. That's what it basically means. I'm just going to ignore what Jimmy said whatsoever.
You've only been fired twice?
Yeah. You know who we're working for now, Jimmy. You realize
So
that.
it says that when you drop a piece of delicious food, as long as you pick it up within the 5 seconds, it's fine to eat, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Well, this microbiologist on TikTok put the rule to a test. And his experiment said that every single sample, even if it was there for 1 second or 1 minute, all of them had the possibility of contamination.
Wow.
So that doesn't work.
So the germs are already there wherever you dropped it. They were there. They within a half second you picked it. I usually just pick it up and just wipe it off. Boom.
What if it's something that you can't wipe off?
It's like, okay, I look at it and there's nothing looks like it's growing on it.
So you eat it.
Just eat it. I mean, it's just kind of like that. Drop the fry on the floor. All right.
So Bill Belichick's catchphrases like "do your job" are owned by the Patriots. So his girlfriend is trying to trademark them with Bill's version in parentheses after them, like kind of what I mean, I don't know this, but maybe Jax would. I guess Taylor Swift does the same thing with her music. I don't know, something like
Trademarks all her specific sayings.
So the Patriots own these phrases that Bill made famous. The one I just mentioned, do your job, ignore the noise, and no days off. So his 24-year-old girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, is trying to trademark them.
Wow.
But with the phrase Bill's version in parentheses. In other words, Jordan wants to trademark, do your job, parentheses, Bill's version, and so on. So is this silly, brilliant? It's your call.
It's okay. He's going to make any money off of that? Is he
Not
gonna,
him.
Not him. Well, whatever. I just think
you know why she's in this.
Sure,
deal.
yeah. It's obvious.
She's a smoke show, and she's with Bill Belichick.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Who's your guys' age.
You might have to call her coach now, too. Did you see that she had a whistle?
Well,
yeah.
Supposedly she's a production assistant, and she's in charge of the audio. So that's why you saw her during the North Carolina
4 minutes
Tar Heel practice. She was working and dressed to the tense.
Don't you feel like your gut feeling that this whole Bill Belichick thing is just going to be a disaster year one?
I don't have that.
They win
feeling.
4 or 5 games.
Well, we had in
a way, I hope so.
We had
better.
I feel like it's going to be a disaster.
It'll be more fun to talk about.
We had a guy a couple weeks ago. I remember that Tanamai covered the UNC. He felt that way, the way things were trending, and he was a beat writer for UNC for the basketball team and part of the football. He left. He said, "This, from what we see and understand, he doesn't think it's going to end very well at all." We went, wow, Bill Belichick's going to come in there. You got Lombardi as your general manager. But my whole contention is, well, why trademark it? Don't you have enough money? I mean, what is it known about Bill Belichick that you need to trademark his sayings? And kudos to the Patriots for trademarking those as soon as they happen. I mean, that's a bright, smart marketing. I go, hey, get that one. Get that one.
What kind of world do we live in? We live in the world of online, of instant reaction, of Instagram, all of that. What she is doing is
About
she
3
is
minutes,
taking care of all of that for him. And I think you're right, Rock. She's going to try to market it, and that just gives her that much more exposure.
Well, now he's in college. He needs that for these student athletes.
Yeah.
He needs it for these kids.
Yeah.
Pro ball.
Does he?
Didn't need it. Well, if a lot of communication, these kids are on Instagram and Twitter and all that.
They are.
They're always checking.
But they don't need his trademarks.
No, they don't need the trademarks.
No.
I think what Jimmy was saying is that she's getting involved to handle a lot of his social media. And if those are things Bill Belichick's
You
version,
really think she's handling his social media? He makes close to $50 million a year,
easy,
with all the stuff he does.
Or
I'm sure he's got a staff.
Oh, sure, but
of
she
people.
But she might be spearheading that. She might be going, "Hey, I'll be
Probably
in charge."
just trying to find stuff for her to do.
That's it right there. She's
probably
bored.
on payroll. She's probably making
2 minutes,
30 grand a month just
Yeah,
by being his girlfriend.
I just think that I get the feeling she's trying to, with his social media, whoever's handling with him be more out there to the players, the college players, high school and college players. They check their TikTok, their Instagram, their Twitter. They're always all about that. So if she's spearheading some of those certain sayings or what he's doing at UNC, she's feeling, Bill, you've got to do this stuff. So I'll spearhead that with your people, and we'll make sure you're out there with all the things you have. She's just trying to bring him up to be a cool dude, Rock.
He's like Hugh Hefner, right? I mean, seriously,
he
he's
just needs
24.
to walk around in pajamas. That's
What's he,
all.
75?
Yeah, right at 73,
72,
72.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
early 70s.
Yeah.
He obviously doesn't believe in the half your age plus 7 rule.
No kidding.
Hey, if I'm 75 and I'm not married, man, more power to me.
One minute.
If I got some girl that wants to be with me,
I'll be envious if that's the
But
case.
what can they talk about?
What do they have in common?
Seriously, what can they just sitting around having dinner?
Maybe she's a big football fan.
But I'm sure he's not talking football.
Come on, Jimmy.
What can they talk about? I mean, and at that age, in their early 20s, they're going to weddings every weekend, right? I know, people are going to weddings in their 20s.
What could they have in common? Hey, honey, let's throw the Abbey Road album on from Beatles 1970.
First of all, he wouldn't say album.
He would say, well, he might have albums.
Yeah, you gotta have.
What does she have in common with his music? All this. Now, maybe he's a hip hop
Everybody always
guy.
does that music. Where does that really come in? when you're in your car driving and you have the music on? When does that really play in?
If he's at home, he turns some music on, or he's in the
You
car,
do you
whatever.
Do you have your stereo on a lot?
Sometimes we pot it on. We had our Bose speaker. We pop that on once in a while.
Like, when's the last time?
2 weeks ago on a
When's
Saturday
the last
night.
time before that?
About a month before that.
All right.
I run.
You guys are clear to
I
wrap
have
on that.
music on Google, and so when I get in the shower, hey Google, play Will Smith, Wild Wild West, and it just pops right up while I'm in the shower.
We do that once in a while. We'll play that. We'll get cooking dinner.
Because I use Siri.
Yeah.
Is that what you use? What's Google?
Same thing.
What do you have to say?
Just hey Google. That's it.
Oh, you just say
Yeah,
Google?
yeah.
All right. You don't have to say Alexa or
Yeah.
Siri?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You're pretty high tech.
I just try not to let on. You
So
know?
my thing is what do you do in the shower that you need to have Wild Wild West on?
Hey, listen.
That's the part that I
When
really don't.
You're
I
really
can't
pulling
visual.
the curtain back now,
I mean, but
Rock.
why
Might
would
be
you
good
even
to break
say
on that
that?
one.
Why would you say to that? Hey, Rock's Man Vice today is brought to you by G2G Protein Bars. You can find them in the refrigerated section at Costco. They're also online at g2gbar.com. Right now, free shipping on all orders over $50. And for first timers, get 15% off. Just head to g2gbar.com or just go into Costco. Hey, we're going to catch up with Big Ten football analyst Yogi Roth, one of our favorite guests. Talk about this NFL draft next week. But first, here's Jax with a Twin Peaks ESPN 620 update.
It's now time for your Rock and Manuch with Jimmy B's Twin Peaks ESPN 620 Sports Update. I'm Jackson Groff. The Arizona Diamondbacks made the most of just 5 hits in today's earlier game, capping off a sweep against the Miami Marlins 6-4 win. Haven Smith and Josh Naylor each launched solo shots, giving Arizona 9 homers in a series, just one shy of the club's all-time record. They'll have the Cubs upcoming, the 12-9 Chicago
30 seconds.
Cubs. The Cardinals legend returns to the spotlight. Patrick Peterson will announce Arizona's day 2 picks at the 2025 NFL Draft. After retiring this week as an Arizona Cardinal, he is set to rep the red and white, with Arizona holding
17.
the 47th and 78th picks. No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference is, they have everything from tequila cocktails, extensive bourbon category, top shelf spirits, and more. Don't forget the 29-degree drafts. Starts in 30 minutes. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
It's time to go inside college football with our lead analyst, Yogi Roth. From Elite Eight coach to Emmy award-winning filmmaker and best-selling author, Yogi brings it all. Don't miss his podcast, Y Option, as he examines college football through the West Coast lens. Yogi Roth now on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B right here on ESPN 620.
Ward seemingly always at the ready. Look at him extending the play, and now downfield. That's how Cam Ward does it. Right to Restrepo after doing a 360 dipsy-do to extend the play.
Guns it. Sanders in a pocket. Oh, what a catch. Travis Hunter. Give him the Heisman now. In an unreal talent. And there he goes. Genty into the clear blue.
Here we go.
Touchdown.
You heard Cam Ward there, Travis Hunter, and Ashton Gently as we get ready for the NFL draft next Thursday, a week from today. And joining us now to kind of give us his thoughts on what may happen on Thursday, Yogi Roth, Big Ten analyst. How we doing, Yogi? What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to hear your voice, man. How are you?
Appreciate it. Good, man. Good. We're getting ready for this draft. Not a lot of guys from Arizona State, but on the national level, Tyler Shuck, who Manuch has been training for the last 15 years.
About 15 years. Yeah.
15 years. A lot of talk about that right now. I'd love to get your thoughts on him right out of the gate, and because it's a decent, not great quarterback class, but some pretty good players here.
Yeah, no, love Tyler. I mean, number one, probably best flow in the draft. Let's give some props there. He's had that hair together since he was in high school. 25 and married, and he's still looking great, man. So love everything about him. But on a serious note, as a player, it's just been fun to watch him navigate what I always coin like as scars that quarterbacks have to generate in their career. I mean, think about him going to Oregon and leading to a Pac-12 title in COVID while sharing time with Anthony Brown, having to navigate it. Goes to Texas Tech, thriving, gets injured, has to navigate it. You know, that's just kind of been part of his career. And I'm going to do something tomorrow. I'm actually going to be on Good Morning Football, the NFL Network. I was on today, and I'm on tomorrow morning again. And I'm going to talk about, sleeper quarterbacks. And I think in the last week, Tyler's name has skyrocketed and maybe a little more popular. But I'll still put him on my list because I want to tell his story. Just about a young man who's just believed in himself and continued to believe in himself and hasn't flinched whenever anything has gotten challenging. I think it's going to bode so well for him when he gets to the league. And I think this draft is not as talented as it's been in years past. I think at the quarterback position, there is 5 to 6 quarterbacks that I think are going to be there for anywhere from 5 to 10 years. And I say that because they have so much experience. Mm-hmm. Tyler, you look at Max Brosmer, you look at Dylan Gabriel, we look at Quinn Ewers. I mean, all these guys, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, they played a ton of snaps. I think it's just going to bode well for their maturity when they get into a facility. And then when they get their shot, then they're going to have to make the most of it. And they all will get it, Tyler included. And I believe them, man. I don't know if the Giants will take them. I don't think at 3. But do they get them at a different time? And, there's a couple teams that we know need a quarterback. And I hope one of those is where he lands. And I just hope it's a healthy situation because that's, as you know, that's so much of it as well.
And Yogi, I talk about this a lot about, the mental maturity. I think you alluded to it too. And you talk about reps and a lot of guys may not be the most talented quarterback coming out, but the most, I said NFL ready quarterback because of the maturity, the reps, the way they handle things, the adversity that they've overcome and still had success on the field. That bodes extremely well. And I said that about Bo Nix last year, said that about Deshaun Watson. And a lot of the guys I've seen NFL ready have come to fruition to be that potential starter on day one.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, he's just been through so much that I think when he gets there, and not just like in terms of being hurt or, controversy of the position, but just having to learn multiple systems, having to learn from, different head coaches and different philosophies. Like, just how about the regions he's been in? From growing up where you guys are, to going to Eugene, to going to Lubbock, to finishing in Louisville. I mean, they're all so different. I just don't think he's going to be phased when he gets there. He'll come in, it'll be about ball, no matter how much he signs for, etc. And I think people are just going to feel his presence when he walks in. And that's what I think is really cool, again, about this draft. So the guys that you referenced, the guys that I said, like, I think we're in an era, this kind of COVID bonus year world, where I think when we look back on it, we'll say, wow, these quarterbacks really benefited from another year of experience, multiple years of experience in some of these cases. And I think it's going to allow them to just be able to navigate what the NFL is. I don't think they're going to be making some of the mistakes that some guys do that, come out with 15 starts under their belt.
I think what's also interesting is in talking with Tyler before his decision to go to Louisville, how well thought out he and maybe a lot of the other quarterbacks out there, receivers or whatever position, about where they played their last year. Jeff Brom, as you know, runs a pro-style offense. That's where Tyler wanted to go to hone his skills for this draft day.
Yeah, I love it. Look at what he's done, right? Here comes Miller Moss right behind him. And you're right. I mean, he's quarterback now with these one-year deals, which is like a different show, right? Like, I don't think any of us love where the sport is at in that regard. But to have the discernment necessary, not go take, I'm sure, what could have been a bigger payday somewhere, not go take a bigger fan base and, maybe a more hectic schedule, but really lean into the development of the position. And I think that's what everybody I've talked to in the NFL bring him up. Like, yeah, he's just continually sharpened his axe every single time out and every single year out.
Yogi Roth is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Yogi, my question involves the teams that are searching for a quarterback. Maybe they just have, and I'll just use Pittsburgh as an example, and they're not sure that Aaron Rodgers is going to go there. So do they reach for a quarterback that maybe really isn't that guy that they should take that early in that round? So do you see teams, once again, reaching when they shouldn't?
We had this conversation this morning, too, on Good Morning Football of, do you take best available or do you take need? And I think it's just such a nuanced conversation. Like, to your point, like, rarely do you need a quarterback and reach for it. Usually I think it's one or the other. It's like, all right, we need him. We've got the spot. Let's go draft, Bo Nix. Let's go draft Caleb Williams. I think there's certain instances where it's like, let's go get Michael Penix Jr. We have Kirk Cousins. We paid him a ton of money. And the thought process of Atlanta last year, if we recall, was we don't think we'll ever be in this position again to get a player like this. Mm-hmm. They make the move. A year later, Penix is a starter and Cousins seems to be on his way out. I think when we look at this year's draft, the thing I don't see is I don't see anybody, if I was a GM.
About 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
It's a lock. Like, he's going to be a Pro Bowler for me. I just don't see it. And I love Cam Ward. I've got a no-Shador Sanders. We just raved about Tyler and Dylan Gabriel and some of these other guys. I go get Tyler Warren. Like, I'd go get Quinshon Judkins. Like, I think there's just better overall players than when you look at your big board and to your question of, like, do you go reach and get a guy? If you do, I think you go for one of the guys we referenced that are, like, really experienced and have an opportunity to be your starter. Like, I think of, like, Will Levis years ago. Will Levis and a lot of those guys I just talked about at quarterback, like, I don't know, Malik Willis and a lot of those guys that we just talked about, that to me is going to be the discernment, I think, of these GMs. Because some of these places that need a quarterback are also, their seats are relatively warm. So what's going to get you there? If you're not going to get a true difference maker, if somebody that you believe in will be that guy, then do you just give Mason Rudolph a better tool around him, or do you draft Will Howard, for instance, who somebody's going to get? He's going to be a steal. Same thing with Tyler. Same thing with Dylan Gabriel. Same thing with Max Rosen. Same thing, Jalen Milroe. Like, but I don't know if any of them are like, yeah, that's the guy. I'd be so curious to know how much in love some places are. And as we know, it only takes one. I hope it is for all their sakes. But if it was me, I'd try to just find the best available player right now. As long as I have an experienced quarterback that can navigate where we're at.
Yeah, we got a couple minutes left.
2 minutes.
Travis Hunter talking about if he can't play both positions, he's going to walk away from football. Now, we know these guys say things to put it out there, but I just find it so coincidental. A day later, both the Giants general manager and the Browns general manager today both have come out and said, hey, look, he's like an Ohtani. We'll look at him if we draft him to go both ways. He's good at each one, blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, they're coming out that if they do get him, they're kind of quasi-assuring him that he'd have that chance to go both ways. Just want to get your thoughts on how this all went down the last couple days.
Yeah, I think it, when I saw that, I was just like tongue in cheek, like smirking. Like, if you get paid, 30, 40, 50 million in guaranteed money that he's going to get, like, I'm pretty sure he's going to do whatever is necessary to stay. I mean, the one thing that's true, and I've talked to the people that have interviewed him in front offices around the league, and they just said, like, he loves football.
Yeah.
Like, this is just this is his normal, right? Playing 1,200 snaps, like playing 140 snaps a game. Like, he doesn't know any different, and they love that. And I do believe that a coach's job and a franchise's job is to get the most out of your player and allow them to be themselves in totality within the confines of the franchise or the confines of the college program. And whoever gets him should do that for him. Because, I think everybody gets it. Like, he's not premium at either corner or at wideout, but he is premium as a football player, as a competitor. Like, I would continue to find ways where he could be the best version of him, right? And maybe it ends up being one position and a handful of plays, or maybe not. Maybe it's just specialty on both sides, and you're playing 40 snaps a game, and it's,
You guys can feel free to rep whenever.
25 and 15 pending the game, the situation. But I wouldn't take away somebody's stinger that's that type of competitor before they walk in the building.
He's Yogi Roth. Yogi, where will you be on draft day?
I'm going to be at flag football practice with my 9 and 10-year-old team. So,
Good. All right.
Great. A little playoff run for us. And then I'll be heading to Eugene, doing a lot of spring ball.
Okay.
With the Big Ten. I was just in Columbus, which was really fun, getting out to Ohio State and just being around Ryan Day and that culture again. I haven't followed them in the playoff. I'll go to Eugene. I'll go to Washington. And then it'll be off-season mode. And we'll do a little Elite 11. We'll go on vacation. Come on back and see what Kenny Dillingham and Brent Brennan have stirred up for their program.
Are they going to send you to UCLA since they just inked a brand new QB?
I'm going there tomorrow. I'm taking our whole team. They've got it's really cool in LA. It's called Friday Night Lights. And some teams have replicated it around the country, but they try to give that high school feel. And they'll have 10,000 people at practice. They'll have food trucks. They got a DJ. They got Matt Barnes and his podcast with Kerry Champion. I'm assuming Nico Iamaleava is going to make an appearance. So we had Deshaun on this morning, Deshaun Foster on GMSB, and he was great, man. And I think he just wanted to kind of dispel the rumor of this really doesn't have the resources for what it takes. And, he's got his staff, he's got his guys. So, yeah, I'm going to go check it out. I'll be curious to see how he navigates that position, right, that position room with the portal and when it closes and, how he's communicated to guys. And I'm sure he'll be asked that in his next media availability. So I can't wait to watch that. And then we're trying to get to CSC this weekend as well in practice. So trying to make the rounds as much as I can, man.
Yogi, today for some odd reason, I'm looking at week 0, Kansas State, Iowa State. Then I'm going into week 1 on the 30th of August, and Ohio State's hosting Texas. I mean, we're ready. Okay, so can we just step on the pedal and let's get to August?
No, not yet. I'm not ready. No
okay.
way, man. I'm not ready, man. I'm not ready. But no, it'll be fun. I can't wait. I mean, it's been really cool to see some of these other places around the country, and then stay connected with the schools that we covered for so long out west of the Pac-12, and obviously trying to do it on my podcast, etc. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for the portal thing to close, though.
Yeah,
I'll say that. I think the spring window is just ridiculous.
Can we get
think of not just like Nico, but think of the quarterback who went to UCLA. But these guys that made the decision and now are they don't have a place. Like, that's to me the part that is just jacked up.
Can we have these kids? Can we have these kids sign like a promissory note or something that they have to stay? Stay at one school, and you can't do it twice in 1 year. I mean, this is ridiculous. Come on, Yogi. It's just somebody needs to get involved.
Yeah, well, I think it's also changed the nature of the game. I think of the two schools in your backyard. Like, Brent Brennan's job, you could argue, is much more of a challenge than Kenny Dillingham in terms of year one.
Yep.
Brent had to hold the team together and make sure guys didn't leave. And I'm sure there was a version of placating to a certain degree, maybe not being as, the hard edges maybe you want it to be. That's why I think year two, I'm all in on Arizona now. compared to year one Arizona State, I mean, he's taken over a really challenging situation. I mean, remember the UCLA game when, they're running this formation we hadn't seen since, who knows when. And I think that's part of it is when these jobs come open. God, if you get a team that's won, it's tough to navigate because you're just trying to hold what looks like a good roster together. You kind of don't even have a chance. I think it's even harder. So yeah, man, I'm with you. I'd love to see guys sign a 2-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
My heart broke when I watched David Bailey go to Texas Tech, defensive end at Stanford. Not because I don't blame him, but I'm just like, okay, maybe you got paid a bunch to go to Texas Tech, and I get Stanford is up and it's not very stable right now. But dude, like you're gonna walk away from a Stanford degree,
geez.
That's why I think places like that, if they get it right, like the Notre Dame, Stanford, like a couple of these academic institutions, you can try to get guys for 3 years to be there. I've talked to recruits and their parents about that of like, go play.
Got to wrap up after this one.
Like, be really happy. And then when you become like a relative adult, then you can make your business decision in that regard. But I'm not into the 1 years, and I get it. We just got started raving about Tyler's been at 3 schools, and all situations are different. But man, we're just missing out on so many things. Take away like us being older guys of like the lessons in life. How about the friendships in life?
Yeah.
Like the bond that you make on the floor of a locker room after a workout, and it doesn't happen in one off season. It happens in multiple. And that's the part where I hope we don't get too far removed from things like that.
Yeah, I agree. Yogi, thank you as always, man. We'll be watching tomorrow on the NFL Network. Thank you.
Thanks, bro. Yeah.
Yogi Roth joining us. Follow him on Twitter at Yogi Roth. Of course, he's got a podcast, and he's one of the best in the business, so we appreciate his time. All right, we need a contestant to challenge Tatum here at the Twin Peaks at Deer Valley. You're playing for a man card, $25 gift card, and you got 3 games. Miami at Atlanta, Mavs, Grizzlies, Timberwolves, Lakers. Those are the games that we're going to be picking with Tatum and whoever the 5th caller is at 602-230-0620, 230-0620. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B right here on ESPN 620.
weekly chance to challenge one of the beautiful girls from Twin Peaks. It's Peaks Picks. The Twin Peaks girls are the essential ingredient to the perfect lodge experience. Each week, our girl next door Twin Peaks contestant takes on an ESPN 620 listener for 3 games. Get the most picks right. Win a $25 man card for one of the 5 Valley Twin Peaks locations: Scottsdale, Phoenix, Glendale, Tempe, and Deer Valley. Now, time for Peaks Picks.
All right, today we are at Deer Valley, the newest of the 5. Ladies are 18-9, and joining us here is Tatum, and she's 1-0. She's won last time, and we didn't even have to track her down.
Yeah.
She was ready today.
She's ready to go.
Easy to find.
She had
Ready, easy to find.
She was ready to go. All right, Fred in Phoenix is going to compete, so Connor's going to have Fred's picks. I'll start with the first one: Miami versus Atlanta. We're getting the playoffs going here, Tatum. NBA playoffs, and of course, Twin Peaks is a great place to watch NBA and watch the game. So, who do you like in this one?
Miami.
No question.
All the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
My favorite city.
Is it really?
Uh-huh.
Wow. All right. So she's going with her favorite city, Miami, Florida. I love it. All right, Connor, who's Fred going with?
Fred is taking Atlanta in this game.
Oh.
All right, second game here going on here, Tatum. Mavericks will take on the Grizzlies tomorrow night as well, too. What do you like in this one?
Mavericks.
Well, they are coming off a big win at Sacramento.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
All right, Connor, who's he got? Who's Freddie got?
He's got the Grizzlies in this one.
Wow. Okay. Next one is the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Los Angeles Lakers. It is Saturday night. So I need your pick for the win and also a score that we would use as a tiebreaker.
Okay.
3 minutes.
Timberwolves.
Okay.
Okay. It's basketball.
120-89.
Wow. Blowout.
Man.
Blowout.
And how about Fred?
Yeah. What do we got, Connor?
Fred is going Los Angeles, and he's taking that 127-118.
Okay.
All right. Good stuff. All right, Tatum, tell us what's going on here. What's going on here at Deer Valley, Twin Peaks? When are you here? When can people come in and say hi to you? And
You
maybe
can come
sit in
say
your
hi to
section?
me like every day. I'm
You're here all the
time.
time. Are you really?
Yeah, I live here. I sleep in the back, actually.
Okay. Are you afternoons for lunch? Or are you at night?
I'm usually at night. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
But you're here early because we're here. Is that why?
Exactly.
I mean, okay,
yeah.
yes,
I made sure to schedule that.
And what happens at 3:00 here on Monday through Friday?
Happy hour.
Okay.
So from 3 to 6 we have happy hour, and then 10 to close we have reverse happy hour.
First happy hour.
Okay.
You get a good crowd.
2
Did
minutes,
People in
2
the business
minutes.
come in.
No, it's not that good.
It's not that good.
No.
But we're gonna make it better, right? We
Exactly.
get more people in there because
Yeah.
now people know.
Yes.
There's reverse happy hour from 10 to 12.
Yep.
So that's good for Twin Peaks.
Mhm.
So all right, well, good job, Tatum. You're 1-0.
Nice job,
Let's see if
Tatum.
you can bring it again, and good luck to you on this one.
Thank you.
All right, that's Tatum. Football 50 is brought to you by, or the picks, I should say, Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks Eats, Drinks, and Scenic Views. There you have it. That is our picks. What else you guys got
Minute
going
and a
on?
half.
Tatum was, as I walked in the door setting up, she goes, am I be able to pick today?
Yeah.
Because we missed her last time. She had the second shift last time we were
She
here. Was
did,
it
yeah.
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
She came in early just for us, huh?
Ready, raring, and go, and say, yeah, can I do it today? Absolutely, you can do it.
If you missed it today, Disney-owned network, of course, ESPN announced that Lee Corso will work one final episode of college football
1 minute,
pregame
1
show
minute.
Game Day. It'll be August 30th before before retiring.
Officially retiring.
Officially retiring. I
There you
read
go.
that real well. It may be in Columbus, a place that he kind of create that stump that
First
you know,
time.
that first time with
Yep.
the headgear.
Yep.
That would be pretty cool. And
I
in
think it's
Texas
great.
at Ohio State.
I think it's great. It's great.
Be a great send-off.
Yep.
Get that mascot headgear on and take Ohio State, defending champions, with the Longhorns in town. SEC versus Big Ten.
Arch Manning, first start.
Oh,
Yeah, for
that'd be
Texas.
nice.
20 seconds.
All right, hour number 3 is coming up. We'll talk about Matt Ishbia, who broke his silence today. D-backs won. We got some sports bar gossip. Our AI of the day parody. It has to do with Rory McIlroy, as well as a Braves sideline reporter asked for a fan's number live on television. We'll get into that next.
For the worldwide leader in sports is ESPN 620. And now, an on-air sports marketing presentation. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at arizonasports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
So Suns owner Matt Ishbia takes accountability for the Suns' collapse and the D-backs sweep the Miami Marlins. Welcome in hour number 3. We're out here at Twin Peaks, Deer Valley. Be here for another hour. Coming up this hour, we'll get Howard Balzer's take on the draft, which is a week away from today, as we will be where next week?
We're going to be at the Glendale Twin Peaks next week.
Good deal. And we'll do not really a pregame draft. We don't need to do that. Somebody asked me yesterday, like, hey, you going to do it? I'm like, no. No interest at all.
We did that for so many years.
It's so much prep.
It's a lot of stuff.
And it's like the national guys, 98.7 does a tremendous job.
They do.
They cut all the bios, and it's just they do such a good job. And I'm sure they'll be out of the Cardinals deal. And so 98.7 next Thursday. That's who you're going to want to listen to.
We'll catch up with a few guys reference to the to the draft.
Yeah.
I'm sure Howard today and next week we'll catch up with Mark May and get his thoughts. And at this point, it's just you look at a lot of these teams, they're just going through their final vetting, their final scenarios. Maybe they're trying to throw this team off or that team off. Just thought it was so interesting with the reference of Travis Hunter saying he's gonna quit football if he doesn't go both ways.
I love the smoke.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think to pass up 35, 40 million guaranteed is going to be a long stride. I think his family would say, no, you're not. But then you got general manager of the Cleveland Browns and the Giants both coming out and saying, you know what? He's an outstanding athlete. He'd be a good two-way player. We would kind of air quotes consider something like that. A lot of the pundits say he's a better receiver than his cornerback. Some are saying he's a better corner than the receiver. They're saying his natural position is cornerback. But I got to believe, guys, with this kid as talented as he is, to win the Fred Biletnikoff Award, how about not being even considered for the Jim Thorpe Award, Defensive Back of the Year?
Should have been.
But a guy that you can utilize, I think, much like what Deion Sanders did, full-time corner, used him once in a while as a receiver. There's got to be those areas where maybe he gets, if he plays a total of 65 snaps total, maybe 30 to 35 are defense, the rest are offense.
Could you
but
see
he's
him
too much of a
playing,
talent.
You see him playing like in passing situations?
Yeah,
They bring on the extra DB.
Yeah, I think that's how they might scratch that itch for him.
Okay.
Bring him in as a slot corner or a nickel back.
Yeah.
Just say, look, you're going to play defense, but we're not going to rely on you to be our full-time corner and then be an impactful receiver. So there's got to be a give and take with him to understand, look, you're gonna basically be our bread and butter guy on offense, impactful guy there. Yeah, you're a hell of a corner, but we can utilize you more on the offensive side. Or you might get a team goes, you know what? We got enough receivers. We feel pretty good. We might bring you in as a slot back, might bring you in certain situations. We feel for our team, your value is at corner. So whoever picks him up, they've got that. I would say they've got that utilization for him to come in and do one thing or the other. But he can play both.
All right, so Howard Balzer, we'll talk some more draft with him in about 25 minutes. But Matt Ishbia, he spoke today. He had a 4-minute opening statement, talked about the state of the team. He mentioned the lack of execution. He also talked about the failure of the last 2 years. He went on to essentially take blame. And I think a lot of us fans love to hear an owner take blame, not pointing fingers. There wasn't a lot that came out of it. Okay, hey, are they going to trade Durant? Are they going to extend Booker? Or, what? None of that was mentioned. And it doesn't need to at this point. I mean, nothing can really happen until the NBA playoffs are over, right? Yeah. So, but let's play a couple clips. Connor, why don't we pull the clip of who will be the next coaching hire? Notice this is the question, and listen to his answer on who would be the next coaching hire.
We got to get the next hire right, and we will. The team and the roster that was constructed by James, Josh, the scouts, the front office is much better than a 36-win roster. So there's a lot of reasons why Coach Bud's not here. I'm not going to get to all those reasons, but definitely believe we should have won a lot more games and been a lot more competitive during those games as well. And so wish him the best, but it was the wrong coach for our organization and for that team. And at the end of the day, you can blame me for it because I'm the owner at the end of the day.
Again, he took his blame.
He did. Yep.
He said they're going to get it right next time. Obviously, there's no specifics on who he's going to hire. He's not going to do that. But again, I think it says a lot for him to come out and say, I'm the owner.
Yeah.
I'll take the hit. Now, one thing he did say is the players didn't play hard. And that part bothers me. I don't know if that's just Coach Bud, but if you're the owner of an organization, you see your investment, which is substantial. Like Booker's going to make like 50-something million this next year, right? And if he's not playing hard, which he's not a good example there, but if the team's not playing well, when you kind of walk down in that locker room and say, dude, come on.
Maybe he did it. Maybe he did it.
Or does it really matter because the NBA is run by the players?
Right.
Well, that clip here, puts a lot of onus on Mike Budenholzer. He says, we felt we established a good team. We put a good team together. He wanted to go into the whole Budenholzer thing, which is an indictment right there. He obviously takes the blame as an owner. I get it. But there was a lot said about not saying it when he just said, hey, we felt we brought a really good team together. Mike's moved on. I won't get into it, but I take the blame. So he the indictment was on Mike Budenholzer. And I'm like you, Rock. I'm like, okay, if there were so many issues they were having, especially with the Nurkic situation,
yes,
why wasn't that nipped in the bud? Then the whole Devin Booker thing came out in reference to, well, he told him to pipe it down. At that point, I said, no, Mike Budenholzer. I need my guy. He's the prodigal son. He's going to stay here. I would have canned his butt right then and there and let those guys take over and put whomever in it as a head coach.
Here's my question. How do we know he's going to get it right?
Well, he doesn't.
We don't.
You don't know. He doesn't know.
No, I mean, look, they get rid of Vogel after 1 year. They get rid of Budenholzer after 1 year. Who's to say that they could swing and miss again?
Well, that's a good point. It's like, who's making that choice?
There you go.
Who's making that choice? Is it James Jones or who is it?
I think we put too much on that. He's only been there 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really bring up what happened before him.
But James Jones has been there longer than 2 years. He's been there since Monty Williams.
Monty Williams.
How many rings does James Jones have?
Well, he's got a couple.
8.
Well,
he's been to 8. He's been to 8 championships.
He's got a ring.
But obviously, when Monty left, took him to a title.
Yeah.
Frank Vogel won a title. I mean, I see that the coaches that they're choosing
got 3. Thanks, Jack.
Yeah,
3.
The coaches
been to 8. I think it's been to 8.
So maybe it's a combination of the coaches he's choosing, or it's the players, because those guys just didn't become bad coaches all of a sudden when they won
see,
titles.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
Coach Bud's a good coach.
He's a hell of a coach.
But it's interesting that you heard Gambo and you heard the guys on 98.7 talk about the fact that every coach and every team in this market does a radio hit with them, regular radio hit.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only head coach that didn't do it.
I remember him saying that. Yeah,
that was interesting.
I never even put 2 and 2 together during the season.
Yeah.
Say, all right, where's Coach Bud? We haven't heard from him. Why isn't he doing a coach's show? I mean, they all do coaches' shows.
Right.
Sounds like he didn't want to be bothered with.
Well, when we had Chambers on last week, he said that they kind of were told that. Powers. Some of his colleagues said that
they never talked to him during the halftime. You know how they always talk to an assistant coach.
I
it was
always
never
wondered
Coach
about
Bud.
that.
They always had an assistant coach on.
Well, now that everything's over, now they're pulling the curtain back and saying this is what we had. I don't know why Coach Bud would be so.
I don't know why they pulled trigger earlier.
Yeah, well, that's exactly. Now that you hear all this,
that's more than fair.
And if it was Coach Barry or whomever could have jumped in, and maybe this team could we be talking about a play-in right now.
Yeah, I look at the last half of the season and then losing 9 out of the last 10 games. Truly, the lack of respect for Coach Bud was there. You could see it. It was consistent. I mean, watching KD walk by him all the time and like leave me alone, or if Devin had suggestions, you would see him say something in the huddle and Coach Bud put his arm up like, I got this. The guys are playing on the court. You listen to what some of their changes might be.
But I just understand maybe because he's an inexperienced owner, how do you allow that?
You shouldn't.
We're seeing
about a minute left.
He's clearly seeing it.
What you just said there, an inexperienced owner that is going through his growing pains as an owner, as to what you tolerate, what you don't tolerate. And I think that you hear this presser and you're going, okay, little Captain Obvious with this. I get it. He's just trying to smooth over something that was embarrassing. This is one of the worst teams in Phoenix Sun history.
No, it was. Real quick, Pavin Smith, he homered, he doubled, he drove in a couple runs today as the D-backs swept the Marlins. They took the 3-game series. They won 6-4 today. They've now won 7 of their past 8, including 5 straight. They head to Chicago tomorrow. Also, Josh Naylor, who was a former Marlins first-round pick, he homered for the 3rd straight game. They also stole 6 bases today. Corbin Carroll had 3. Rodriguez, he went 5 1/3, allowed 10 hits, no walks, 3 runs, only 1 were earned, and he struck out 9. So a good showing for the D-backs. We'll have to see what they can do as they go into Chicago, and the Cubs are one of the top teams in baseball right now.
And they're scoring a lot of runs, but how about that? The stolen base is alive and well with this Diamondbacks team, and clearly that was Brantley and Cabrera. Cabrera, the pitcher, Brantley, the catcher. They picked up something in forward scouting that they're looking forward to, because they were taken off And then Brantley had no chance on several of them.
Feel free to
no
rep
chance. I
whenever.
mean, 6
No
for
shot.
6.
Yeah.
So that's on the pitcher in the catcher, and good for the forward scouting and the first base, third base coach to pick up on that and get these guys moving.
D-backs improved to 7-0 this season when they hit at least 2 home runs in a game. Coming up, who is dominating the list of most popular walk-up songs in Major League Baseball and the most viral video of the week? That's a sideline reporter in Atlanta. It's Roc and Manuch. Jimmy B here on ESPN 620 and on FM at 98.7 HD2.
Feels like it's a loaded gun.
It's Thursday, and the guys are live at Twin Peaks Deer Valley, located in the Deer Valley Town Center. Twin Peaks, the home of the 29-degree beer, served in perfectly frosted 22-ounce mugs. Here's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620.
We already know country music has fully crossed over into the mainstream, but if you need further proof, look no farther than Major League Baseball. As when a batter is coming up to the plate, the stadium will play a walk-up song that a player chooses that they feel best represents them. A reporter even posted every baseball team's playlists along with their walk-up songs. And after crunching the numbers, one thing was made crystal clear. Country music is dominating.
Is it? Really?
You just heard Chris Stapleton there, White Horse. That is number one.
Wow.
followed by God's Gonna Cut You Down by Johnny Cash. The Stroke by Billy Squier is still up there.
Okay.
Number 4, God's Country by Blake Shelton, and Ain't No Love in Oklahoma by Luke Combs. So 4 of the top 5 songs in baseball are country.
A lot of the big country western fans in baseball. A lot of the guys doing that. It's funny when the Latino players come up. They've got the some of the Latin songs that you don't really know, but they got that little rhythm and little cha-cha to it, what have you.
My favorite was Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn and Wild Thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite.
What would you be your walk-up, Rock?
Yeah, what would you do, Rock?
I know mine would be.
Maybe Toby Keith Solo Cup.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. It could be so many different things. It's just a matter of am I a guy in there that's hitting base hits? Am I a guy that's hitting the long ball?
Okay.
I mean, it really has to do with the type of player I am.
Yeah. All right.
Where are you going, Manuch?
I'm going to go I got to go Earth, Wind, and Fire, either September or Boogie Wonderland. One of the two. Little rhythm, little funk.
Yep.
Bring it there. Energy, rhythm, tempo. Because that's what I'm going to bring to the plate. Energy, rhythm, tempo, some strength.
I'm going to throw it down with James Brown, and I'm going with Cold Sweat.
Okay.
Yep.
Go one.
See, what I don't understand is I'm like looking at that list and I'm saying to myself, all right, that song we just heard coming back from the break, that's the number 1 song. How does that get you ramped up?
I don't know.
I know it's too slow for me.
I mean, I can see Billy Squier, but country music doesn't really get you rolling like that.
I could see Big and Rich.
Yeah,
Big and Rich has got
some of that. Yeah,
some great rocking country.
But like Stapleton, Luke Combs,
Yeah.
Jelly Roll. I mean, they're all like slower.
They're
type
ballads.
stuff.
They're ballads.
Balladeers.
Yeah, you're right there. I need some little.
I
something
gotta
for me to get juiced
I gotta
up.
get funky. That's what I gotta do.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Surprised you
I
say
do.
something from Tower of Power. since
Hey,
you're a
are
big
some
fan.
sound for you. Atlanta Braves sideline reporter Wiley Ballard. It's not a household name entering Monday night's game. But the entire baseball world knew about him now and after that as part of an unusual in-game interview in which he asked a woman for her phone number while on camera. Now, this segment, and we're going to play it, this segment occurred at the top of the 5th. He approached this guy, Wiley, approached 2 women for a live interview during the game. And, he asked about, are they Braves fans, things like that. And after one woman said she wasn't a Braves fan, he said he was going to get it to work. So at that point, one of the play-by-play guys, or the color analysts, one of the two, joked and said, hey, you got 4 more innings to get the numbers. And then they veered away from the typical, in-game interview, and then you hear him say, I got the number, we're good.
Oh, man.
Here's how it all went down.
Who do we got here? What's your name?
My name's Lauren. And I'm Kayla.
You guys hang out at the Rooftop Lounge often?
Once a year, I come out to visit.
Okay, Wiley. Got 4 innings to get the numbers. Come on it. Come on. Come on it. All right, so they want me to get your number.
They want you to get my
I'm dead serious.
So the best part of this right now is that Wiley could totally be faking it. This might be the new move. Just walk around with a FanDuel microphone and an earpiece in and convince fans that they're actually on TV.
I should have thought of this years ago.
That's great.
I have no heart.
it.
I have no heartbreak over that.
But
at
there
all.
are a lot of people.
It was all in jest. He was egged on by the guys
Exactly.
in the booth, egged on, and they're
It's helped-
laughing. The girls are laughing.
And it probably
Come on.
elevated his career
man.
because of it.
And she said, they want to get my number
Yeah.
versus, or do you want to get my number? So she could tell, like, well, is it them or
And,
is it
and
me?
they can't hear.
No, they can't
the
hear
guy,
those guys. No.
So
No.
you're not on there, Jack.
No.
Go ahead,
Got
Jack.
turned off. The backlash on it was just so annoying
Yeah.
to me.
It
Like,
really
to Jimmy's
was.
point, like it wasn't his thing. It was brought onto the broadcast, brought some humor. And if you're watching the whole time, you're saying, "Well, is he going to get the number?"
Yeah.
Like that could be an ongoing thing. And to your point, it elevated his career a little bit.
So we all know the Masters was won by Rory McIlroy, and something we like to play quite a bit, at least when I'm here, is the AI parodies, and these are interviews that get doctored up lot of editing has to go in because there's a lot of F-bombs and things like that. But it's really a athlete, a coach, or somebody really giving you the truth. And here's Rory McIlroy.
Well, I did my best to that one up, didn't I? But hey, that's just how the Irish do it, don't we? We get pissed drunk and fist fight. It's never pretty, but sure as we're fun to watch. Most importantly, we get the job done, and that's exactly what happened at Augusta today. By the 10th hole, I was already 7 shots up on the field. It was getting boring. And at that point, even Paulie Market said I was 95% to win. So I decided to spice things up. And my caddy pulled out a bottle of Jameson. We chugged the thing like it owed us money, got absolutely plastered. With the liquor in me, I bogeyed 11, went for another swim on 13. I could have made the par putt on 18. But I missed it on purpose, just to give that English bum Justin Rose a little glimmer of false hope before I banished his sorry ass to the Shadow Realm in the playoff. To all the doubters, to the haters who didn't believe in me, and to the other golfers in this tournament who thought they had a chance to beat Rory McIlroy today. You're a bunch of fools, and you can all kiss my hairy Irish ass because, like I promised you, I'm the last man standing. And damn don't, I look like a sexy leprechaun in this green jacket.
Hey, Jax, is the Kawhi Leonard an AI?
Oh, it is an AI, yes.
All right, so let's give Connor some time. I didn't know we were going to get to this one today. We have Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Butler, right? So this first one is Kawhi Leonard talks about sending Steph Curry into the play-in game. Now, again, this is a parody.
Steph Curry, don't worry. I sent his ass to the play-in game in a hurry. It's not the first time I made Warriors fans cry. And I know y'all don't forget 2019. You know what I'm saying. Tonight was basically the same thing. I put up a 30-piece along with 7 assists. And most importantly, I had 6 rebounds. That strip club superstar, James Harden, backed me up in OT. Anyways, it's another year, and the board man's still getting paid. I'll see you guys in the playoffs.
Kawhi Leonard, a little AI parody.
Classic, the laugh.
And then one more, Jimmy Butler. I guess he's talking about the winning play.
2 minutes.
Or winning the play-in?
Yeah, winning the play-in and going to the playoffs.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Did y'all forget who I am? Maybe I cause drama. Maybe I make locker rooms awkward. Maybe I change my hair every 4 seconds. But when it counts, I win. A game-high 38 points and a dub to lock up the 7th seed. Life is good here in Golden State with Steph as a teammate, banging home 6 threes in a clutch game back in Miami. We'll see how they fare in the play-in without the guy who knew how to get the job done. But now their happy, cohesive locker room can all take one flight together to Cancun. Hope they enjoy it. Anyways, back to what's important. My Warriors are set to face the number 2 seed, which is apparently the Rockets. No idea how that happened. Did they resurrect 2019 Harden? So that should be a cakewalk before we get a real test against LeBron and Luka, or as I call him, the white Jimmy Butler. See you guys then.
About a minute left. 1 minute.
Stuff. You know,
that is good stuff. That
Jimmy
is
Butler
great
is
writing.
one of the best playoff performers.
Playoff Jimmy.
I hate.
You don't like him?
No. What I'm about to say is he looks so much like Michael Jordan in his mannerisms and how he plays and how he shoots and how he plays defense. If you watch, if you could put a Jimmy Butler and a Michael Jordan on the same court and have him doing this, it's almost identical.
Do a side by side.
I'm gonna have to look at that. Never thought of it. Yeah.
When you watch him, think of Michael Jordan, the way Michael Jordan, would shoot the ball,
stroke,
how he played defense.
Yeah.
Man, I know there's all those reports that, he may be Michael's son, from afar at one point. But seriously, they look very similar on how they play. Now, granted, there's only one Michael Jordan. He's still arguably, in my opinion, the best
that
player
management
ever.
team should thank Steph Curry for shooting down any kind of KD talk
Clear to wrap.
whatsoever, or trade talk. KD said, I want to be there. They're so much better off with Jimmy Butler.
Absolutely.
So much better because the defensive side may not get quite the scoring, but look what he's done since he's gotten there.
He went for over 30 in the game the other night.
Exactly. So and look what they win, like 9 out of 12 when he got there.
You know who looked unbelievable last? It was Thompson last night.
He did.
he looked amazing. What, he hit 6 or how many threes in a row?
Klay Thompson. Yeah, he hit 6 in a row.
I love watching him.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the notoriety that a lot of other guys do. You think about it, he's always been behind a couple other superstars.
Last year when they lost to Sacramento, he was 0 for 10. And
he had a bad night.
And he said after they won the game last night, I had to resurrect my career.
Yeah, I saw that.
He said, this is the best thing that ever happened.
Coming up, we'll catch up with Cards beat writer and columnist Howard Balzer. He's also on SiriusXM NFL Radio. But first, here's Jax with a Twin Peaks ESPN 620 update.
It's now time for your Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B's Twin Peaks ESPN 620 Sports Update. I'm Jackson Groff. The Arizona Diamondbacks made the most of just 5 hits, capping off a sweep against the Miami Marlins. 6-4 win in earlier today's game. Haven Smith and Josh Naylor both had single shots, giving 9 home runs to Arizona in this series, one shy of an all-time record in a 3-game set. Cardinals legend Patrick Peterson will announce Arizona Cardinals Day 2 picks of the 2025 NFL Draft. After retiring this week, the 10-year Arizona Cardinal will rep the red and white as the Arizona Cardinals have the 47th and 78th pick. Consider yourself a bourbon connoisseur. At Twin Peaks, they're proud to offer an exclusive and extensive collection of some incredibly rare bourbons, whiskeys, and tequilas. Plus, check out their barrel selects and a handmade beer on top of that. That's Twin Peaks, Eats, Drinks, Scenic Views.
Craving tacos?
covering the National Football League for close to 50 years. A longtime NFL writer, broadcaster, and co-host of the Pro Football Hall of Fame show on Sirius XM. A Hall of Fame voter, Howard Balzer. Now on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620.
All right, let's talk some Arizona Cardinals. You can follow Howard on X Twitter at HBalzer721. How you doing, Howard? What's going on?
Doing well.
Doing well.
A week from the draft, so it's here. It's here.
Yeah, you don't get into the mock drafts, right? You don't waste your time on that, do you?
I look at them a little bit. I mean, it's been, there's so many of them now, and there's so much stuff that's just thrown around out there. And, I understand the interest that people have, but when they think that actually these things are based from a foundation of knowledge, like anyone knows what these teams are going to do, that anyone believes that, I kind of just laugh, at that. But, the teams look at them because, they don't know from some of the people, hey, are they talking to people with teams? But, the reality is if anyone's talking to people with teams, if they're telling the truth, it's because they want a certain thing out there. But most of the time they're not, because a lot of times teams want a certain thing out there to throw off other teams. So you never really know what's real and what's not. So yeah, I look at them. I used to do them a lot, but the thing now, they're so out of hand. I know, Nick Casario, the GM of the Patriots, I'm sorry, not the Patriots, he used to be with the Patriots, now with the Texans. He made a comment in his press conference the other day where he referred to the fact that there's like 4,000 mock drafts out there. Then he changed it to 1 million. Well, I don't know if it's 1 million, but there's so many of them, and people do multiple, mock drafts. I mean, heck, I remember the day back when I was on ESPN for the first draft and a lot of the early years. I remember the day when people did one mock draft, and it was about a week before the draft, and that was it. I mean, heck, now you have mock drafts during the season when no one even knows what the order of selection is. I mean, it's just crazy. So, but we all know who the top players are. But I always figure that, hey, let it play out, because the only ones who truly know what teams are thinking about a player are the teams themselves.
So, how when you look at the Cardinals, you look at the free agent moves, you look at the holes that they may have, they look at the depth, and at that 16th position, do you try to deduct who the most likely would pick, or you just kind of sit back and let it go and then worry about it or comment on it later, or are you looking to prognosticate that was a good pick or not?
Well, when the pick happens, we all want to talk about it, and I usually give teams, the benefit of the doubt, and that's where it really gets, kind of comical when a team will pick somebody that no one thought they would pick. All of a sudden, oh, they reached, or what are they doing? They don't know what they're doing. Well, the amount of time that these teams spend on it is remarkable. Now, that doesn't mean obviously that every pick works out, because they don't, and everybody making the picks realizes that, but it's mostly after the fact. But yeah, you definitely look at, different directions the Cardinals could go in. But, if they're going to take an offensive line, first of all, we don't know obviously who's going to be there at 16, but you look at bunches of players. If they take an offensive lineman, it could be someone in this group. If it's an edge rusher or interior defensive lineman, it could be someone here. But the reality is they're going to do what they feel is best for them. And I think it could be, a lot of different positions. We've talked about this over the last few weeks. It could be, there's a lot of positions that it could end up being if they even stay at 16. And, so far, this is one of the first drafts ever that a week before the draft, every team has its own number one pick. No picks have been traded at this point for this draft in the first round. Now, will there be a bunch of deals in the first round? Who knows? You always see some jockeying around. And I think that's going to be one of the intriguing things to see, because there's so many good players in this draft. There's some positions that there's not one or two guys that just jump off the board. And when that's the case, some teams figure, well, I don't need to trade up and give away some picks down, a little bit later, but I'm still going to get a really good player where we are. So I'm going to be real curious how many teams are patient and just let the board come to them rather than moving up. But I think that's going to be one of the big questions and one of the more intriguing things next week.
Do you put much merit into it? And the Dolphins said that Jalen Ramsey is available for trade, and they're shooting down rumors about Tyreek Hill. And I just find it somewhat amusing the week before the draft that this is coming out now, and the whole Tyreek Hill thing's kind of sort of been out there. You think there's any motivation or strategy behind that with the Dolphins?
Well, there's always strategy. There's no doubt about it. And you want to see what kind of market there is. It was strange, though, to put it out there publicly.
Yes.
I mean, and especially less than a year after they gave him this huge contract extension, which just seems to be very, very weird what the Dolphins are doing. Now, the words that I've been hearing, the Tyreek Hill situation seems to be going back and forth. Is he on the market? Is he not? And so the truth is no one truly knows except, the Dolphins. But, they very well could be, the contract for Jalen Ramsey, they're probably, if they are going to trade him, they're probably going to have to pay for some of the money in that base salary. They've already paid him a $4 million roster bonus. I think he has like a $20 or $21 million salary. And so you're not, if a team takes on that salary, especially at his age, the Dolphins aren't going to get much of value in a draft pick. So they might end up picking up a bunch of the salary to try to get more in a pick. But again, that means a team, to be interested, has to be taking on a guy
About 3 minutes.
and is on the downside of his career. As good as he still is, don't get me wrong, but you're not going to get a lot of years out of Jalen Ramsey. And so teams trading for him don't want to give up quality picks in the draft.
Howard, Patrick Peterson came back to the Cardinals, had his retirement celebration. When you think of Patrick Peterson, does he shoot right to the top in your estimation, say in the first 6 to 7, maybe 8 seasons as one of the top cover guys in the league?
Well, during that time, he was one of the top guys. I mean, there was a bunch of pretty, darn good ones, but he was one of those. And now, of course, everyone's debating about the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But, he had, a lot of tremendous years, and he was a tremendous player. Hall of Fame, that's another whole level. And especially the way they're doing it now could make it difficult when he comes up. I was looking at some of the other players, even in just his year, 2029, and there's some top guys there, but, played a lot of great football. It's interesting to me now that all of a sudden he's, embracing getting back in the good graces of the organization. I don't know if you guys saw the story today. He's going to be announcing the Cardinals pick in the 2nd and 3rd round of the draft, and, all this about. And I look at it and I say, it's just interesting to me. None of this happened for Larry Fitzgerald. And Larry Fitzgerald now granted, he didn't leave with bad feelings like Patrick Peterson did, and didn't rip the team, publicly after he wasn't playing anymore, as Peterson did when he went on to play 3 more seasons. But there was never a retirement press conference for Larry Fitzgerald. And so I've kind of wondered about this whole, oh my goodness, he's now, mended all the fences, and now he's out there and happy and the whole bit, and wanting everybody to notice him. So
just over a minute
on the playing field. The guy was a hell of a player, no doubt about it.
Yeah, you don't see him maybe being the next color analyst on radio, do you? Could he be trying to sell himself for that?
Who knows? I would doubt it.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, because he comes right out and says, I want to be in the media. So are you trying, you're trying to grease the skids a little bit there. And I mean, heck, I wasn't here when Ron started doing it. I don't know how he was, right out of the chute.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but, when you haven't done any broadcasting, that's not easy to just step right into, especially on a radio broadcast where you've really got to react and, say what you're saying and, and all those things. But who knows? Maybe he's trying to, and maybe he wants a shot at that. And the Cardinals still haven't made a decision. And even though there is time, there's not a lot of time because we're in April now, and there'll be preseason games in a little over 3 months. So they've got to make a decision.
Feel free to wrap whenever you guys are ready.
Howard, thank you as always. Have yourself a good weekend and enjoy the draft. We'll catch up with you next week.
All right, sounds good, guys. Take care.
That's Howard Balzer, Sirius XM NFL Radio. You can follow him on Twitter, XHBalzer721. I don't know why I have such a bad taste in my mouth with Patrick Peterson.
Well, he left. Remember, we also don't let the door hit you in the rear end on the way out.
To Howard's point, great player. Great player.
Yeah.
But, he's going to give his number. He's going to be on the wall. He's going to give his number retired, all that good stuff.
He rubbed you the wrong way.
I think he's rubbed a lot of people.
A lot of us the wrong way.
Well, especially, too, because he left Arizona. I think he thought he was going to play for another 10 years, 8 years. He only played for 3 seasons if you count the Steelers where he didn't play much. So maybe his expectations were, I'm on the hot side of my career.
Well,
let me trash the Cardinals, and didn't work out.
Well, here's that. His last 3 years here were not good.
No.
Missing tackles.
He was getting burned much.
Getting torched. And then he asked for the trade during Wilkes's that Oprah year.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then,
I don't know how the Bidwell organization, Cardinal organization, can put out the red carpet like this.
Well,
there were some really negative things that he had said. I understand you can always
Olive Branch.
Yeah,
here
thank
you go.
But
Olive Branch.
man, there's something with him.
Yeah.
Of all players that have left here, he's one that just doesn't sit well with me.
Well,
I don't know him. I think we've interviewed him maybe once. I do respect him as the player that he was in his heyday.
Sure.
Not the one the last 4 years, but for him to get what he is getting. And to Howard's point about Larry Fitzgerald, that was always something we knew about Howard, or that Larry didn't want to have his.
That's right.
His post.
He didn't want pomp and circumstance.
Retirement deal because he wanted to keep that door
Yeah.
kind of open.
He did, and so he never even mentioned retirement after his last season.
He just said,
But that's him.
That's
that is him.
It's
Yep.
him. It just
Yep.
it
Different
stems
guy.
from
Different
scoring
guy.
a touchdown, giving the football to
Yeah.
the
See,
official.
And I'm like you, Rock. I'm like, oh, so now you're coming back all hunky-dory. You're the prodigal son.
Yeah.
I know they welcome you back, but how about, you know what? I know I didn't leave on the best of terms. I want to come back as a Cardinal.
That would give me some respect
Yeah,
for
I'd
him.
say, look, guys, my bad. I wasn't thinking. The whole PED thing, I apologize, whatever. And you know what? It's just like, hey, I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let the bitter taste a lot of people's mouths. So
Howard is brought to you today by All City Towing. Join the team at the largest towing company in the state. Of course, that's All City Towing. They're hiring all types of positions, great benefits, employer-paid life insurance, monthly fuel allowance. So if you want to take your career to the next level, then visit them online at allcitytowing.com. All City Towing, where your future is on the move. We're on the move, too. We're out here at Twin Peaks, Deer Valley. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, ESPN 620.
Call, that's all call of the day. If you're looking for a full-service law firm, just make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. Lerner and Rowe, voted Arizona's best law firm.
Corbin Carroll looking like a superstar yet again. So we talk a lot about the Dodgers, and certainly for good reason, but they've got company right now, Lauren, among the best teams in the National League West. And for the D-backs and Torey Lovello, yes, give some gratitude to Corbin Carroll, but let's not overlook Josh Naylor and Pavin Smith, a huge reason why the D-backs are right back in the postseason conversation right now.
Can 4 NL West teams hit the play? I mean,
I'm doing the math here, Lauren. It's probably unlikely.
That's John Morassi. Is it Morassi or Morosi?
Yep.
Morassi, MLB Network, talking about Carroll having an MVP caliber season. That is our one call, that's all. Brought to you by Lerner and Rowe. Interact, need a check, make one call. That's all. 602-977-1900 and always at lernerandrowe.com. D-backs win this morning. They are heading to Chicago right now. I'm sure they're on a plane heading up to Wrigley, and they'll get set for a 3-game set Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I love about when the Diamondbacks play the Cubs. It's the early games. There's nothing better than day baseball.
Yeah.
And growing up on the East Coast, our difference to, of course, Chicago from Philadelphia, being able to come home from high school or elementary school, whatever it was, at 2 o'clock and put on WGN and there's a Cubs game. Listen to Harry Carey. Watch this Harry Carey and Steve Stone. Another game better than that.
It was
nothing against the guys here. We love these guys here. But there's something about Cubs baseball. I don't know.
You just said right there, a lot of it was about Harry Carey's broadcast, and then Steve Stone, in reference to
it was just day baseball.
And then just you had to come home and you had WGN, turn that on afterwards. And you talked about that game earlier where it was like 23-22. Never forget that game. You got home. Wind was blowing out of.
That was a different game.
Okay.
That was a game where both Mike Schmidt and Dave Kingman both went at it, had a bunch of home runs. And, it
classic
was
game.
30, 40, 50 degrees flying out of Wrigley. Yeah.
And it was like 23-22, and Kingman hits 5 home runs, and Schmidt hits 3 or 4. But, you came home, and it was the big thing is because the Cubs didn't have night baseball until about 1984.
Mm-hmm.
They finally got night baseball, and that started to come alive.
Because, where I grew up, you had TBS and you had WGN. They were the super stations, right? So you would get the Braves, and then you would get, of course, the Cubs. So you would watch those teams. But the Atlanta Braves never really clicked.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but something about day baseball and Wrigley and watching people boozing and doing the old style, the bleachers. I mean, it's on game.
Well, there was legacy, there's history there, the way they built it up. Atlanta, those teams are having successful teams.
But I think Atlanta was playing well.
Really good.
They've had some of the best pitchers of all time.
Yes.
But they would still have fans not show up like they did at Wrigley.
Yeah.
They were low attendance.
Atlanta's not a good sports town. I know some people may be able to fight me on that, but
no,
you never hear
Braves
fans and
Hawk fans.
And, obviously
the
Falcons.
Hockey team left.
Yep, they're up there in Winnipeg. And it's just like
Calgary.
No, they're in Winnipeg. And they are a team or a city that just does not resonate. No one's worried about them.
Yeah. It just, I know that when the Falcons are winning or the Hawks winning, their fandom is there. Fair weather fandom, what you'd say. It is interesting how they lost.
Would you like to take that bet?
Yeah.
Okay. How much would you like to bet?
$100.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
$100.
Yeah, sure.
All right, look it up.
You did.
What do you want me to look up specifically? Because last time I looked something up.
The last Atlanta Thrashers.
No, not the Thrashers. The Flames. The Atlanta Flames.
We're not talking about that.
We're talking about the Atlanta Flames. That's the Calgary Flames.
But they had a team after them.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Atlanta Flames.
But you can't trump a team.
I'm talking about the Atlanta.
We're talking about Atlanta sports.
Yes,
we're talking about
they lost their hockey team.
Yeah, that's the Atlanta Thrashers.
The Atlanta Flames
before the Thrashers.
I'm talking about the Atlanta Flames.
You didn't say that.
Well,
you did say it, Jimmy.
You are so wrong. The $100 bet I won. Because the Winnipeg Jets are the Atlanta Thrashers.
They are
the last hockey team in Atlanta. Why would you want to talk about one that's already been gone?
We didn't say the last hockey team. I said the Atlanta Flames.
You just said the last hockey team for the Atlanta Thrashers.
4 minutes.
What is wrong with you old people? Admit you're wrong sometimes.
No,
I'm right.
If Jimmy B wasn't part of us, you would be getting the same crap from me.
No. Well, here's
before
the thing.
he saves you. Because you're the one that we would make all the
No.
You would embellish and tell these stupid stories that never made sense.
My stuff is factual. My stuff is on par.
No.
Jimmy will make a mistake on
I was
moonwalk.
factual.
I'll admit it. Okay, my
You were
bad.
factual, but not relevant.
Wait a minute.
We're talking about the fan base right now. You're going back to the Atlanta Flames of 70s,
when
60s.
When Craig was the goalie after he came off the 1980 Olympic hockey team. Yeah.
Come on.
The Atlanta Flames. Jerome Aginla in Calgary.
Who is the latest hockey team there?
The Thrashers.
Okay.
They were only there for 8 years.
That's it.
72 to 80.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
They are not relevant.
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Well, obviously the Thrashers weren't relevant either because they left.
So it
I
gets
think
to
that's
my
what Rock was
point.
talking
It's
about.
not a good sports town.
Yes, that's
at
correct.
all.
I agree with you.
Yeah, jeez. Well, Thrashers, they only lasted 3 years.
About 3 or 4 years before they moved on.
My point is,
I know your point.
and I'm sorry for the Atlanta people out there, it's not a good sports town. Now, they've won a
If
lot.
they're winning, it is. They're dialed
Well,
in.
but everybody
They used to mock them all the time.
Yeah.
Like, no one goes to Braves games.
Well,
And the Braves were winning baseball games, and no one was going.
And they talk about why build a new stadium when you have nobody showing up at the old stadium. They build a new one. Of course, the new one got the new football stadium, new baseball stadium.
Baseball stadium's in Gwinnett, not in Atlanta.
So new stadium. Okay,
Yeah.
no matter what, they still don't.
All
get
right, so
the numbers.
Really? So,
What?
the Arizona Cardinals don't play in Phoenix.
No, they play in Glendale. Buffalo Bills play in Orchard
2
Park.
minutes. 2 minutes.
San Francisco 49ers play in Santa Clara. New England Patriots, they're not in Boston.
I'm so glad we have 2 minutes.
Let me get to our State Fair review.
Yeah, you gave out the question so many times today.
For free quote repair installation, head to state40roofing.com. Follow them on social media by searching hashtag #SexyRoofStatus. Go to @Roc and Manuch on Twitter. You can vote.
It's called X.
With the D-backs winning the last 5 in a row, last 7 of 8. Do you feel their hitting can maintain this pace throughout the year? Yes, it did it last year. 57.1% said yes. No, top pitching coming their way. 42.9%
Jax,
coming their
let
way.
me ask you something. Were you able to put that entire question into X?
Yeah.
That if it fit that many
Yeah.
letters, that many characters?
Yes, when you have premium, it extends.
Oh, I forget I paid that.
1
Yeah,
minute.
yeah.
1 minute.
Now, the answers are you pretty much got to keep it to 25.
25. I've been trying to get this guy to keep it 25.
And I've been
Some of them
doing
are long.
It's kind of like when you ask him a question.
50 seconds. 50
Sometimes
seconds.
you got to articulate and extrapolate.
You both of you guys exceed your word counts every show. Every show.
And damn proud of it.
Yes, one, by the way, if you cared. That's it. Anyway, we'll do it again tomorrow. We will be out at Wright Toyota, right on the corner, right on the price. Who do we have on the program tomorrow?
We'll catch up with Rick Coral, catch up with Gerald Bourget, talking to Sen Scott Spreitzer, former Cardinal and now broadcaster. Rob Fredrickson will join us tomorrow as well, too.
Yeah.
Right, Toyota.
Look forward to that. All right, we'll do it again. We appreciate everybody helping us out here. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B tomorrow, 1 o'clock. If you're just saying to go to rockmanuch.com. Appreciate